we go.
We're on.
We are on. I think with better sound than last time.
Oh, yeah.
A lot better.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, last time.
Way better.
Yes, way better. So this is episode 29 of the Tampa Film Network podcast. Apparently, I'm in the host seat today, people. Get ready for a roller coaster ride.
She's back.
I'm
She's back from the grave.
That's right. My cold, bloodless heart finally.
By the way, I wonder if we should have I know it's called Tampa Film Podcast, but should it have a name like film, you know what I'm saying?
Like Film Talk or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. I was thinking about that earlier, but then I was like,
do we really want one? I mean, you've just been calling it episode,
yeah, we just
whatever
been doing
number.
the same thing every time.
29, yeah, maybe good. But anyways, my name's Ruth, and I'm here, and I'm the host today, people, and I'm with TJ.
Yep.
And just remember to like and share this video.
Yep. Thank you, fans.
And, well, I think TJ is going to let us in on what's been happening.
Yeah, so let me do our recap real quick. Wait, first let me move this. Oh, look. We already got somebody. What's up, Kamran? Here we go. Trying to see if I can move this down.
Make it smaller. There you go. Look at that.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, and now you moved it off the screen.
We got our notes on the screen, folks. So, anyways, so as you know, we've been in recent weeks releasing our rush cuts.
Exactly, not rough cuts.
Not to be confused with rough cuts.
Yeah, just the rush.
The rush cuts, the deadline cuts. Maybe we should change it to deadline cuts.
Deadline, not to make it.
I think the name will just be a little bit more,
easier
straightforward.
to say what.
That way, you can't get it wrong.
Yeah,
Deadline
can't be
cuts.
Rush. Yeah, you're right.
Deadline cuts.
Deadline cuts. Yeah.
For stuff that we've been shooting in an effort to make sure that we're getting stuff done, not just continuously creating things and how
putting them on the back burner.
Yeah, you know how
waiting till everything's perfect.
Well, in an effort to do the best quality that we can do, we tend to try to over perfect things, and that kind of holds us back. So this new effort, I kind of like it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a cop out, so I can say it wasn't meant to be the full quality yet.
It wasn't ready.
And I can always come back. So we can always come back and put a better version up.
You can always come back. You know something? But if you do that, you're always going to be coming what's that one thing that people always say? If you're any type of creator, basically, you spend your whole entire life trying to perfect the first thing you've ever made.
Yeah.
So that's how we're gonna be.
Is that what they say?
Yeah. Well, they say that everybody has one great story, and basically throughout your life of whatever you're telling that story, whatever means media way you're doing it, you're always trying to perfect that story, which is basically the one first story you had. Okay,
that makes sense, because I've heard the trope or phrase, everyone's got one good book in them or one good story in them. I've also heard a leadership expert named Simon Sinek. He has a book called Start With Why, and he talks about getting people to look at the why in everything that they do. And what he does say is your why never changes, no matter if you start a bunch of businesses. Why you are the way you are is kind of what he's getting at. So I kind of feel like this is all kind of meshing together. It's all together.
It's like a big old circle, people. A circle of life right there.
Yeah.
We figured it out.
But yeah, we've been releasing these things, and we've done the 2 park benches. Park bench 1 with Sharon and Rafiq is out, and I think we're on the 4th or 5th version of the deadline cuts for that.
The deadline cuts.
And now we also have park bench 2. Now last time we tried to play it on the show, and we had some issues, and we went back and we saw,
because we had the different version prior to the one that was already finished.
Yeah, and what happened was it was coming through the left channel but not the right, and then when the audio goes through the thing, it only captures one, so it sounded like there was no sound. And there actually was, so just like we thought coming out of the editor, it had sound. So we made sure that we got all that corrected, and we put the version 2 up. Version 3 is going to be even better. So that has Chevy and June in it. And like I said, that one's been the funniest thing that I've edited, just because of June's performance on it.
Should we just call it her Miss June?
Miss June?
From now on.
Miss June, that's fine. Miss Betty.
Miss
Betty's the funnest character.
And Miss Betty and Miss June, because very Southern lady, character going on there.
She just did it really, really well.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like stereotypical church woman. You know what I mean? But yeah, so version 2 is up, but version 3 is going to have some improvements. Like we always said, when we release anything with these deadline cuts, you can go ahead and download them directly from Facebook if you want to use them for your demo reels, actors, or whoever, camera people, whoever worked on it. You can use the cuts that we release, whether it's a rush cut, rough cut. If we release it, it means we're okay with it being shared.
Yeah.
You can share the video directly on Facebook, or you can download it, cut it into your demo reel. You can do whatever you want. That's fine. Just know that the newer versions, we just go back to the same post.
It's going to be better, basically.
Newer version is going to be better, but we're not going to do a new post. When we have a new version, all we do is go back to the same post and we just
update it,
replace the video.
Content. Yeah.
I'm so glad Facebook lets you do that. It's like, it's so useful.
Why do you have a new post? What do you have a new post for? You can just go back and, because people saved some of those posts, so you want to.
Yeah. Well, it would show up. The benefit would be if you had a new post, it would kind of show up on the timeline, and so people who hadn't seen it, they would know the new version is out. It'll be a little bit better for notification. But in this way, we don't have a bunch of posts that you gotta definitely
look exactly
have to
the
read.
same.
Yeah, where you gotta read it. So when we,
I hate that because people are just gonna scroll right by. Because that's what I would do. Just scroll right by. If it's like 3 of the same videos, I'm like, what is going on here? Why is there 3 of them?
Yeah, and you might not notice, but the 1.3 versus the 1.2 would be the version change. So we're just gonna keep the same post, and when we replace a video, we change the name of the version. So you'll see if you saw 3 last time and it's 4, that means it's a new version. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. And the last thing that we've been waiting for is the deadline cut for our short film, Good Friends. That's what we've been
working on. Tirelessly working on that. Tirelessly.
I've been tirelessly working on it, and we pushed the deadline back from yesterday to today because we got some news today, and that's what caused it to be pushed back. So Good Friends, we should have a deadline cut out tonight. All right?
Look at you squinting those eyes. You're like...
And I say that because I really want another week. I really want another week, but I don't want to keep saying another week,
because that'll always be another week.
But I'm really happy with what I'm seeing, and what I'll do is just put, insert or whatever in the gap that we have that I want another week to mess with, but I'll put something on the thing so you guys can see what's on the timeline for Good Friends tonight. We'll share it. And then we'll try to have the gap filled by next week. And then again, new versions will have, improved lighting, improved color. Everything's going to be just better. But I like how Good Friends is turning out, and I think everyone's going to be pretty happy with the results too.
It's great.
So that's what's to come.
Is there anything that's here right now? What's to come?
I'll show you something when we get more into the editing thing.
Okay.
But right before that, I want to do one quick news story.
Okay.
All right. So basically, you guys know when the director of the Creature feature came on the show a few weeks back. It's her thing, Monique Gugino, Monique Correa. For those who don't know the last name change, she's doing the Creature feature, and it closed the last time we had the show. So they did the competition. Well, when she came on, they were getting ready to start the competition, and they were taking entries. So since that's happened, they closed the competition. Everyone submitted their films. Now the screenings are coming.
Oh yeah, that was like drum roll. I was trying to do drum roll. But you just went right into it. Like the screens are coming.
Yes. So
I'm like, dude, I need to do a drum roll.
You can still do it if you want.
Air drum roll now.
Yeah. So if you go to Film Freeway, let me see the official date. I think it's next weekend.
And do you want to tell us where they're going to be doing the screenings?
Yeah. Let's just see where they're doing the screenings. And again, this is they're giving out the awards. All the regular awards. Best picture, you get a trophy. Best performance.
It's
best
a bowling
script.
Trophy.
Yep. I hear it's a nice trophy.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Here we go. Here's dates.
Yeah.
So they had to kick off September the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. By the 29th, all the films Had to be submitted. Okay.
Let's see here.
And now the screening.
Mm-hmm. Will be.
Yeah, we gotta get tickets.
You gotta get tickets to find out when the screen is gonna be.
So the screening is gonna be October the 18th. So that is. Oh, that's this weekend coming
Friday,
up.
Yep.
Yeah, this Friday. So it's gonna be $13. It looks like if you just go ahead and check out your ticket online. Let me see. They probably have them at the door too.
Detail, yeah.
So you can also pick up tickets at the entrance, but $13. So it starts on the 18th. It ends on October the 19th.
So Friday, Saturday.
So they're going to block off the different films, I believe.
And do we know where?
Yes.
Let's tell the people, because maybe somebody wants to go. How are they supposed to know?
Oh, they definitely want to go. It's going to be good. Actually, I'm going to try to make it on the 19th,
Is it
though.
right there?
Yeah, I believe this is.
Tampa.
Yeah. So this is the
West Shore
venue. Necronomicon at Holiday Inn Tampa on 700 North Boulevard, or North and Northwest Shore Boulevard. Okay. Organizer Monique Guccino. She's the festival director. Shelley Stokes, the festival coordinator. All right. So everyone who participated in the Creature feature, you're being told it is October the 18th. The screenings.
And the 19th.
Get there. All right. Bring your friends. Bring your family. And remember, all the proceeds are going to Kids and Canines. That is a great cause where kids work with dogs to become service dogs, basically training them. So it goes to a good cause.
Yeah, they're not getting those to jackets off of eBay. They're actually training the dog. The dog's actually earning their service animal jacket.
Yeah.
You seen those people who do that? They'll just buy it off of eBay and then be like, put it on my dog. Now it's a service animal. I can take it anywhere. I can go to dinner at Outback with my dog.
I didn't realize that they do that.
They do.
Now that you say it, it doesn't surprise me, of course.
Because people.
But that seems like it should be against the law.
It should be.
It probably is.
It is, but the law protects those people because you're not allowed to ask them what their service animal is for.
What?
Yeah, you're not allowed to ask people. Like my friend.
Well, if they have a vest, I would assume it's certified in some way.
We know that not everybody, because my friend is a flight attendant, and obviously you can bring your service animals on flights, right? She once had a guy say that his horse was a
bullshit
service animal.
No way.
Yes, he did.
Well, of course, a horse is a service animal.
And Delta said, "Sir, let me see the documentation," basically, because it's a horse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's it could be an emotional support animal. You don't know what this person's been through. Maybe they're like a vet, coming from like overseas after fighting the long hard war. It could be any one of those things, but they really don't have a right to ask you what the animal, basically what your condition is. It's like an invasion of privacy type of issue. But people try to get away with millions of things.
I gotcha. So yeah, just move this for a second. So yeah, okay. We went full screen with the things so they can kind of see.
There you go.
Creature feature, October 18th. I do see some people try to take advantage when like I read the bus sometimes. Some people will bring their dogs on and they'll be like, "Oh, this is a service dog." And it's a homeless person with a dog with a rope around its neck.
It's a service animal.
It's not a service animal.
You sure?
It's not a service animal.
You sure about that? They're not allowed to ask. Well, but if they had the vest on, you can't ask.
It doesn't have the vest on.
Then
so it's
really
like obvious. It's like obvious.
Not a service
the dog
animal.
doesn't behave like a service animal. You're not allowed to pet them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the dog's probably like trying to get you to pet them.
They'll let you pet the dog. The dog will just kind of lay down. It's like obviously not a service animal. Anyways, don't want to get on this topic.
We don't want to get off on the topic of service animals and piss people off. You can't tell me where I can't bring my service animal to.
Yeah, well, the law can.
We're not telling you people. We're just saying.
Yeah, so that's what's up. Creature feature. Okay, so
let's continue.
Here's
we got a little sidebar there. Go ahead.
Here's the other news, and I guess we go right into main show questions from there. But basically, we got a new short film project coming up, baby. Woo-hoo, people been asking. But this one is a little bit of a surprise.
Okay. This came out of nowhere, people.
This short film is called Butterfly, and it is.
So like that early 2000 songs, Butterfly. No, you don't remember that. You're too young for that.
I guess I'm too young for that.
Yeah. No, I always think about it because like it was the most ridiculous song I've ever heard.
How does it go?
I don't know it. I just know it was some guys, like hardcore tattooed up guys singing some love song called Butterfly, and I was just like, what's going on there? People who are older will know the reference right away. Okay.
Well, good for you guys. So this short film is actually by Austin Newman. So,
Austin.
Everybody know Austin.
We know Austin. Yep.
He's been with Tampa Film Network, but he's been doing his thing on his own. If you don't know Austin, he did the movie XXII. Yep. And it's a feature film, which you went and saw it?
Yes, we supported him. I went to see it in support of Film Punks. We all so basically because I went to see it, we all went to see it. We all supported him. Know that.
I went on a different day from you, and I ended up going into the wrong theater. So his was a part of some movie festival thing, and I thought it was in one block when it was in another. So I'm sitting there for like film after short film. I'm like, when are they going to do Austin's film? When are they going to
show Austin's film?
It's like, I don't even get why,
why it's in here. Why would it be? Yeah.
Yeah, it was my mistake. It's one of the most silliest things I've ever done. But
we supported him.
Oh, yeah. Austin's the OG.
Just want to let everybody know that. So, if you join us, we support you. You got our full backing.
Absolutely. Because it's all Tampa Film Network now.
That's right.
So this new short film is going to be a director-driven short film.
Okay.
So it's gonna be with Tampa Film Network personnel, like crew, actors, and everything.
Great.
But he's gonna be basically.
So join up now.
Yeah.
It's like join people, join.
Go ahead. But he's the one who's really driving this project. He wrote it. He's gonna be directing, and we're basically building everything around him.
There you go.
Now the film is. Oh, I guess this is now getting into your question. But anyway, this is the new thing. I had the meeting yesterday, which is why.
Before you jump on my questions, so can you tell us what the film's about?
Yeah. So it's like a short. So it's a science fiction drama neo-noir. Okay. Is what it actually is.
I love neo-noir.
Even though he used the term noir, I think what he means is neo-noir.
Yeah, because they don't make noirs anymore. We don't really make noirs anymore. I think they're all just called neo-noirs now. But we all get it.
But when you think
unless it's set in the noir era, like as in 50s and 60s.
So noir is basically a visual theme for a lot of mysteries, like back in the day. It's called black, right? Noir is black.
Yeah.
Neo-noir is just basically the new black. So it's a genre that things like Veronica Mars falls under.
Brick, if anybody ever seen the movie Brick, Ryan Johnson, who then went on to do Looper, that guy. Everybody knows who that is. And
when he describes it to me, I kind of get visions in my head of films that kind of look like this. Let me see. Full screen this.
Yeah, exactly. Put it up. And basically, the old boy cover.
Yeah, but look at the lighting for.
Yeah, it's beautiful lighting. So that's what they were known for, that lighting. And it's unfortunate, but I don't think that we do lighting the way. If you've ever actually gone back and watched those neo-noir films, those old films, those actual, what the noir film is.
Those are noirs. Well, exactly. The neos are different.
The new ones. Like when you go back and you watch actually the noir films, you will see the difference in the way. Actually, see a lot of films that take place during the day, but they are noir. Still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like the film I mentioned, Brick, is probably the best example of that.
Yeah, and one of my favorite examples is, let me go to Veronica Mars real quick.
Everybody knows who Veronica Mars is, right?
Not everybody, but that's...
Oh, you think they would?
It was a popular show. I liked it. I like mystery, so it's like a mystery show. But this takes place mostly during the day.
Yeah.
But with that show, it's all about the mood of the scenes and the lighting, even though it's daytime, she's in the shadows and she's like in buildings and things like that.
Yeah.
And it does its thing. And, it has that neo-noir feel to it, especially for the nighttime scenes, but during the daytime as well.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite shows, and it's back, by the way.
I do hear it's back.
I like that. I like that crowdsourcing can bring stuff back.
I don't know if I like that, to be honest.
I like the crowdsourcing.
I don't know if I like it because sometimes people like things because of nostalgia, really.
Oh, so they don't want it to change, things like that.
Yes, and a lot of times it has to do with, like I said, just the idea that you want to almost like recreate your childhood, but some things are just better left in childhood. Some things are just better, the good old, the way they were. Don't try to change them because you're never gonna get the same feeling, and that's why people say nostalgia. Most people, I always tell people, like, if you like a film, don't go back and try to watch it like from your childhood. Don't go back and try to watch it now that you're like 40, because you will be like, was I right about this film? Was this film really that good? It's the nostalgia that you have of your memories, that you had watching this film, either with your father or your mother or your brothers and sisters, sleepovers, all that kind of just blankets the film, and it makes it in your mind and in your heart. It makes it not necessarily better than they are, but I think it definitely adds an extra layer of,
I agree with you.
Of what it really is.
Give me 1 second. There's an alert.
Ahead.
Hang on, I'll be 5 seconds.
We got somebody trying to break in, you guys. Wow, we're all by ourselves, people. Oh, he's back. No, we're not by ourselves.
Our backup system went down. So right now we're relying on the stream. That's not good. The other system records directly to disk, so it's like if something does happen,
we go bad. We don't got nothing.
Well, we got triple redundancy. We got the audio version. We got the stream, which is recording online. We also, the backup is down right now, but we'll get that sorted out.
I hear that somebody says they love the music.
They like the music.
They love the music. There you go. Yeah.
Well, it's lo-fi hip hop. You can get that by going to YouTube, type in lo-fi hip-hop.
And there it pops up. And there you go.
Before I discovered that, I used to listen to, like, Ocean, Going Against the Rocks, Ocean Breezes, things like that to kind of relax you. But this right here is dope. Study music.
You see, I never got that. When I would study, I would have, like, music on, like, regular music from the radio or TV on in the background. It just become white noise. But that's because I like to study, because I'm a nerd. Sorry.
Well, I don't know if I can be seen hanging out with a nerd anymore.
I know.
Anyways, so you take us through. I forgot where I was talking.
Okay, so we were just talking about the film. We started talking about neo-noir, and he goes off, it goes one alert, and he forgets what we were talking about. But he's like too preoccupied with the other stuff. But you said, neo-noir and what it reminds you of.
So what Butterfly is about, it's a science fiction neo-noir drama. It's about a young woman who is going to visit her estranged alcoholic father, who she hasn't seen and who disappeared like 10, 15 years ago.
And she found him, basically.
Well, he found her.
Oh, he found her.
So he kind of contacts her out of the blue. And
she basically wants to know what happened, right?
She's curious about it, but in his absence, she's kind of become a person who's she's like a software designer, and she's focused on her career, and she basically just wants to close this chapter of her life, and I guess get some closure just by going to see him, hear his explanation or whatever, and then just disappearing, going back to her life. So that's what the film is about. It's a short film. We're looking at about 20 pages or so.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to keep it around 20, but I think it's at like 23 right now, actually. But yeah, I've read it. It's very nice screenplay.
Nice paced and everything.
It's paced. And
nice and smooth, tight, because that's the thing about short story. Everybody thinks, a short film is going to be so easy. No, they're actually harder because everything needs to be nice and trimmed and tight and just ready to go, because you don't have room for extra fat, basically. You just have to be nice and trimmed. So
Exactly.
Is that where it's at? Is that where the script is at?
Yeah. Well,
don't be honest.
He's still making some
changes,
certain little tweaks and stuff, but the whole story is there. The dialogue's there. The characters are there.
So
I think I was just giving him little hints and things about things that would help the experience of the audience a little bit better, because what's going to happen is this is going to go into the subject matter of time travel.
Okay.
So we're going to hear some off the wall shit from the father.
From the father? The alcoholic father, by the way.
The alcoholic father. And the audience
Can't believe alcoholic people.
The audience is going to be kind of in a position of wondering,
who do you believe and what do you believe?
If he's credible. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And Austin wants the audience to really wonder if it is true what he's saying. So
basically at the end of I'm guessing it's up to the audience to decide what is what. Well, don't tell us anymore.
Well, he's
leave it like that.
He's kind of he's considering certain tweaks towards the end that
lean it one way or other.
Well, I don't want to give too much away, but he's giving certain tweaks.
Well, just say, is it lean or not?
Well, it's going to be like a surprise about the daughter, actually. So it's like we're going to have an immediate understanding of the daughter in the very beginning. The very beginning, and by the end, while we're questioning the father and wondering if everything he's saying is
if he's just
true,
not off the walls,
if he's just off the wall crazy, and we're kind of in the same position as her. We're in a position, I guess something's going to be revealed about that makes you realize something about the daughter herself. So if we can get that.
So then it's like second mystery.
It would be like double whammy.
Chapter 2.
It would be like a double revelation. So that's kind of what I was talking to him about yesterday, or the week. Well, actually it was last week, but yesterday we had a meeting. It was kind of what I was talking to him about, my recommendations for certain things, but it's to tweak it, it's the kind of change where you either have to go all into that change or don't bother. Don't go halfway in that direction.
There's some things that are like that. I always tell people, if you're going to go crazy, you got to go crazy all the way. Otherwise, you'll just look silly going crazy.
Yeah. So it's like right now he has a good script, and the only thing is there were certain things. Am I too loud?
No, it's me. People, if you haven't realized that my head's like really small.
Oh.
So the headphones keep.
Feel free to adjust them.
They are. They're supposed to go.
My head's adjusted to my head.
My head is still too small. I have a little head. I don't know why. Just.
Sometimes when you write, you realize an element of your story is just kind of like a plot device, and because it's just a plot device, it may seem a little bit cliche or predictable. And so what I was trying to say is, if you replace this plot device with something that would give you that double punch at the end, make sure that is really well done. Otherwise, you might as well just keep a well done plot device that isn't very exciting but accomplishes your story, versus trying to go for a better plot device but breaking the end of your story, and because you didn't go for that second one well enough. So it's kind of like that's what he's kind of considering,
where he's at. Well, just great. Sounds great.
Yeah.
So you seem excited about it, which is good.
Yeah, he's excited about it. I'm excited about it. I like the subject matter of it.
We know you do, because
we
all know that you like time travel and science fiction.
Well, science fiction.
Time travel. Yeah,
time travel.
That's how you like all that stuff. Noir.
But as you know,
there you go.
As you know, independent filmmaking, short films, there's a lot of illusion. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's an art form. Just given enough to make you curious, make you wonder. I like that too. But yeah, that's what we're looking at for our next short film. So we are going to be busy with that. So we're trying to push out the edits of Good Friends as we get that started, because we're putting resources into getting crew people and actors for that, and
get that other project off of the ground.
Yep. But this will be our next short film. And
watch out for it.
Yeah.
And so then is there like a premiere that he plans to do, or is he festival? What are the plans for that, so that we can let people, kind of dream about the possibilities in the future? It's getting dark outside.
Yeah. There we go. So hang on.
You know something? It's Alexa. That's Google.
Actually, that's Google.
That's Google.
All right, so Google's done. So he
always interrupting.
So what we're looking at is a festival release for this film.
That's great.
So Good Friends is going to be just digital. We're going to just release it online so that everyone can share it immediately, just like I was saying. But he wants to go festival with it.
That's great. Good for him.
Now, this isn't normally how Tampa Film Network does the the more conventional director-driven thing. We kind of do that. We're more
effort.
We're more like a light version of Film Punks in that, except we have directors, but we try to do the team thing. But for this project, it's going to be more of a conventional approach, and he might have he's got some folks coming to do things that are not in Tampa Film Network. So it's very similar to Good Friends in that we collaborated with Film Punks and kind of work within their rules and rubric. Here we're collaborating with Austin and
Tampa Film Network.
We're figuring out what's the best way
to do about it.
We kind of have a line drawn to where the things that we handle we're going to do with the way that we know how to do them best, and hopefully that's giving him less things to worry about so that he can put all his focus on just making sure
it looks
the
good.
story
It
is
comes
top,
out,
that it's shot beautifully. Luckily, there's going to be a good DP, the same DP that did
his last film?
Yeah, that was him, Albert.
Yeah, I think I met him once.
I forgot his last name, but shout out to Albert. So it's going to look great. You can tell he has an eye because we went to the location the other day and we were just kind of doing a preliminary look around,
scouting,
and kind of asking permission at the same time.
People always ask for permission, but if you can't get it, then do it on the weekends. Or actually, what's the best tip here? What's the best day to do things? Holidays.
Well, I don't know about holidays.
No, yes.
That might
Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving. Everybody's closed. You got the place all to yourself.
Yeah, but when also everybody's also out of town. So crew people.
What's more important, people? Filmmaking or family?
Or going to see your family, right?
I mean, come on. Got to sacrifice a little here. Come on.
Grandma Gertrude can live another year.
Yeah, exactly. She can wait. I mean, there's always Christmas if you do it on, on Thanksgiving, and there's always Easter if you do it on Christmas.
Yeah. But this film, I forgot the question you asked me.
Where was it good? Like, what were the future plans? As in, like, film festival release?
Yeah, so
you
film
mentioned
festival,
that, and then
I don't know how many film festivals.
Yeah. And then you basically went on to saying that you were seeing where the line is for the collaboration. Yeah.
So as far as film festival, we know we want a film festival. I don't know how many yet. I'm not sure which ones. I know he's trying to do the ones that start next year. So we're gonna try to do this.
Get
film.
it all done and start next year.
We're working on timetables, but I think we're looking at shooting towards the middle of November, towards the end of November, right before Thanksgiving.
See, I'm telling you, if you start a little early, you can get it on that Thanksgiving schedule. You know what I'm saying?
So we're trying to do it before Thanksgiving.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
But the thing is, like,
anywhere you don't get permission, I'm telling you, just go in on Thanksgiving. Nobody's open. Well, you gotta. Well, maybe not anymore because Black Friday.
Well, here's the thing: we live in Florida, and this film takes place in at a hotel. So the hotel it's gonna be busy, Christmas season. So that's a headache for us. We would rather it be an empty off season hotel.
But it's not.
It happens to be a very uniquely looking hotel.
Okay.
But they're busy this time of year, so we're gonna be trying to get in there before they get really too busy.
Too busy. That's what you have to do. Yeah.
Do our thing and get out.
Yeah. You're gonna do it on just that time, just.
Yes.
As they say, as Mario would say.
Absolutely.
Jump with that little boot when he jumps a little boot. Just knock it out.
I don't know if I remember it that way, but yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, the Mario and the little boot. He would get into the little boot and then he would jump.
I remember it going blip.
Yes,
blip.
or something like that. Yeah, blip, but that's exactly what you're gonna do. That's exactly what you guys are gonna do.
Bloop bloop bloop. It's
whatever. Well, you get it. That's exactly how you guys are gonna knock it out.
Okay.
That's exactly how you guys are gonna knock it out. I'm telling you. That's how it's gonna get knocked out.
But yeah.
Just remember my words. Just remember that bleep bleep.
Okay, I'm gonna forget the bloop bloop.
Go ahead.
What was your next question?
Oh, well, then, well, it was just a continuation of that question. You know, basically, well,
Oh,
not the question, but like the continuation of the response, as in, you know, timeline and all that stuff, and you know, what's like, how are you guys working?
Oh
within,
yeah. So timeline.
You know, with the
So I mean, we're gonna try to have it shot before Thanksgiving, and then try to have it edited by Christmas.
Got it.
Hopefully, Christmas would be the deadline to get it all the way done, and then have it go out to film festivals. I guess in January. I don't know what we didn't really talk about.
There's always so many film festivals out there, so.
Yeah, we didn't talk about which ones. So hopefully, my hope is that not
Academy Award.
No, my hope is that not very many festivals. I want to hurry up and get to the digital release. That's kind of what Tampa Film Network does.
Yeah.
We focus on the online stuff, so.
And you can't get it out there until.
But you know, since he went through the trouble of making the project, so yeah, let's go ahead and try to do the festival.
How about you guys get a cut a deal where you tell him, hey, we need to have first release of the trailer. You know, a little exclusive for you guys, for us people. I don't know. Well, I mean, we have a good deal. There's nothing wrong with the deal we have. But let's sweeten the deal.
Well, the deal's fine, but I don't think that there would be an issue with doing the trailer. The trailer isn't the movie, but I just want to get it online as fast as possible. So we'll see. That part of that's going to depend on fundraising because he's gonna be pushing to self-fund, getting into a bunch of festivals. So.
Why don't you tell us
he doesn't
right here, right now, how to cooperate? This is perfect. We're giving you a little.
We don't have a
page yet.
We don't have a fundraising page or anything yet. So
how do you guys come on? How do you come on here and talk about this film and not have a fundraising?
Well, I'm kind of the producer. I'm the organizer, so I'll have.
Yeah, you're in charge of the money.
I'll have you do that.
You're in charge of the moolah.
No, there's no money right now. There ain't no money.
Well, let's
just hopes and dreams.
What do you got here that we can sell?
Oh, we ain't selling anything from here.
What do you have in here that we can pawn?
We ain't pawning nothing. Look.
You sure about that? We need money.
If it comes down to it, I'll help them get to the first film festival.
We can do it. We're gonna raise some funds for him. We're gonna raise some funds for we're gonna do this. We're gonna raise some funds. Watch people. Watch this.
I probably shouldn't have said any of this because it's like
it's like jinxing
if we give a half effort on fundraising, he'll know why. We just want to hurry up and get to the digital release.
Like, come on, hurry. We're not.
No, we'll make.
That's all we have.
We'll make an honest effort.
Yeah.
So he's not.
We always should, and as we would for anybody that were to join
Tampa Film Network.
Networks.
Yeah. Well,
or the film funds.
I would say don't get too used to the director collaborator thing because eventually it's going to just be Tampa Film Network only, and we'll just be doing one of our filmmaking methods, either sim or conventional. But this is something that the collaborating with Austin and collaborating, for example, with Anthony, is something that we want to do because they're talented.
And we want to grow that that audience for them, and obviously an audience for us.
Well, we want to do it because we're a little short on our own material right now. They have material. They also have the drive to get things done, so it makes sense to have a partnership going. Yeah. There's really not much that Tampa Film Network at this point gives up. We're not giving up anything except we're just waiting for for it to go digital. So that's nothing.
And honestly, let's be honest here. Filmmaking is a group effort. Total group effort. So if you are in this industry and you don't want to collaborate with anybody, you don't want to give a little here and a little there, you're probably in the wrong industry. It's a total group effort type of situation. Everything. The other day I was watching something and they were talking about how everything down to the person was basically saying filmmaking is a puzzle, and basically everything down to the costuming and and background, it all really does help to create that story because you're helping to create a world, and everybody is talking to everybody else because everybody wants to get the same message out there. So it is a group effort. It's a total group effort when it comes to filmmaking.
Yeah. So I hope that I believe it'll be his first time with doing things like having editing team. You know what I mean? Everything we do is team related. So it's like it'll be his first time where it's like he's going to be editing a lot of this film, but we're gonna have it set up to where, you know, he can have somebody just go ahead and start working on the lighting. That's a godsend, man. When you're cutting a film, you don't got to worry about lighting because somebody else is doing it. That saves time, saves you a headache.
Yes.
And then the same thing like with post-production sound and other things like that. So hopefully I think that he's going to see, because it'll be his first time.
The benefits of it.
Oh, absolutely. I think he'll be... I think he'll never not want to do it another way.
Well, most directors, people think, most directors do everything themselves, but they don't. They direct and then they hand it off somebody else. And yes, they have sometimes they have final say. Sometimes the production companies have final say. That's why you have films.
Well, in Hollywood, in funded things, they hand off, and a lot of independent directors actually do a lot themselves.
Yeah, exactly. But that, like I said, that's independent. Directors totally independent.
But
even they have somebody who's totally dedicated to editing if they have the budget. And if they don't, they probably wish they did.
A lot of them don't.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, but if they had choice, if they had the money and the choice, would they have an editing team? Yes, they would. Even though sometimes you think, well, this is my baby. This is my story. I can't let it go. Like,
well, here's the thing.
Contribution can only make things better.
Well, here's the thing. Sometimes I don't think a lot of people consider having a editing team, just first of all because they know you're not really editing, but once you get used to working that way, it just kind of, for me, it's just
better workflow.
It's just second nature. Like, I'm not going back to doing everything myself. Like, I like having the idea of having somebody else either do it things, or help do it. So it's like,
and that's actually a great way to view, just basically, honestly, because as much as we want to say, filmmaking is an art, it's also a business at the end of the day. And anybody that knows anything about business knows one thing, that you don't do that, basically time is money and money is time, right? We know that. If you're taking X amount of time to learn a skill, or you're doing something, it's taking you too long a time, guess what? You're coming on the losing end of it. So, it's just great to be able to say, hey, I'm going to hand this over to the next person. They're going to do their job. They're going to do a better job than I could, and just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
That's why the way you're talking about, you don't want to go back to it. Why would you?
Well, no, I feel like it's just, I don't enjoy doing everything myself. So this works.
Some people do, I guess.
This works for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this will be a good project. Everyone involved with it seems to be motivated to do
That's great.
And we're just going to have the crew built up. We're going to have, hopefully it'll be all Tampa Film Network actors. We're going to have basically priority casting.
Okay.
But if we, for whatever reason, can't find the right person or whatever,
within the group,
we're going to be able to cast outside of the thing. Now, I'm not a supporter of that. I don't like the idea of, first of all, like, Tampa Film Network is like all I want to work with. I don't like going out and asking. I like working with people who are here, who I see on a regular basis. And
that they're going to come through for you. Yeah. Because that's the one thing about independent filmmaking.
Yeah.
People sign up, they're not getting paid. A lot of times they won't come through. Even if they're getting paid, they probably sometimes they still don't come through.
No, they don't come through. it's building up new relationships, but
why don't you like new friends?
Oh, I don't care. But like the first people that I thought of, like right now, like we don't have the screenplay out, but we have sides. So the first people I thought of for sides were the last people on the short film that we did, or the last people who did Park Bench.
Yeah.
Thought about well, this isn't right for Sharon, but if it was, she'd be the first person I send a notice to, or I would try to get onto it. But there's some people who would be perfect for this. So it's just a matter of lining up. Does the daughter look like the daughter of the father? Does the father look like the father of the daughter?
Maybe they're not even related. Maybe,
well,
it's a.
Austin luckily is not one of those people who has it like down to the T. She has to be Asian from this part of the world with this kind of hair or whatever. He just wants somebody in the right age range.
Yeah.
So he's open to, whether it's a Caucasian person, black person, Hispanic person, You know, he's just looking for the right age and people who can play the role. Yeah. So
somebody who's good, basically.
Yeah, I'm confident we have the people in Tampa Film Network. This isn't going to take long to cast, I believe. But just like I was saying, like the first people that we're looking at are the people who are in the acting team group right now. So actually, I'll show you.
Why don't you pull them up? Like, why don't you pull them up? I feel like I should say, and what's behind door number 3?
But just to show you, a few hours ago we put something on here, so we made it so that people can just go ahead and just start going on tape. And by go on tape, it's not as complicated as people make it seem. Look, to go on tape for this, all you have to do is you got the sides here. We posted it in our private group for actors. You just read the sides in front of your camera phone. You see what I'm saying?
Easy.
Just everyone's got a phone. Everyone's got a camera on their phone. It's probably HD or 4K. Just put the damn phone on a counter or something like that, point it at you, hit record.
Have your little sister do it for you, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. I
mean, we told them you can either read all the dialogue yourself or have someone feed you the lines. It doesn't really matter. We just kind of want to hear the quality of the voice and just kind of how you feel you want to approach the role or whatever. But yeah, in the group right now, if you haven't already done so,
there it is.
Yeah, we got the thing here. So we have released the sides for Butterfly. It's the next short film. The logline is a young woman visits her strange alcoholic father who claims he has traveled through time to save her from an accident. So that's actually the full logline.
There you go. Why don't you read this instead of trying to rambling about other things that you did we did not need to know about this soon.
Whatever. So yeah, and it's very easy to look at the side. You just hit the link right here.
Look at that. There you go. Nice and easy.
You gotta be in the group to see this. So it's like you gotta make sure.
You get first dibs on it.
Yeah.
That's the benefit of joining Tampa Film Network. So join.
Yeah. Well, that's how it works.
Nice and easy. You see?
Yep.
You go on. You click the link. You got yourself an audition that you didn't even have to audition for.
Yeah. So
you know something. There's I think Robert De Niro doesn't even get that sometimes for certain films.
Get what?
So look, like the non-audition basically. Some roles you have to ask to audition for it basically.
Oh yeah, ask to audition.
Yeah, it's like your agent has to come and ask for you, like, are there for you to read. Not even like Robert De Niro. Like I think there's like 2 films that he would not make because he was asked. He had to ask, so he was like, "Well, I'm not asking because I'm Robert De Niro." You know?
Oh yeah, so, ego comes into it.
Yeah, but you see, if you join our group, it's right there. You don't even have to ask. You don't even have to ask to audition. You just click on it and you send in.
Yeah, just go ahead and
send
do it.
in.
You don't have to ask. We're not gonna ask you. Like I'm not gonna personally message somebody and send them the sides or whatever. If I have to do that,
TJ texting on the side in bed late at night. Hey, do you want to audition?
Yeah, if I have, I remember what it was like to do that. I'm not going back to doing that.
Another thing he's not going back to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I don't like asking. It's something you should want to do.
But you know what it is?
If
you don't ask, you'll never know.
You'll never know. Well, that's for them to ask.
That's for them to ask, not you. Right.
Well, actors act. So this is kind of like no doubt. The actors who come to the practices often automatically see this. They start reading the breakdown. They want to see if they can go ahead and do it. Like I know some people are just going to automatically go ahead and submit for this.
Yeah.
The most that I've done is just tagged a few people. Like I remember Austin looked at a cut of Good Friends and he was asking about Joe. So I'll tag a certain person because he asked about him, but I don't want to go in.
And why don't you tell everybody who Joe is? Just a little reminder.
You don't know who Joseph O'Connor is?
You don't know who that is? You don't know who he looks like?
How dare you?
You don't know who he looks like? I mean, it's always been the running joke that he looks like somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody very famous.
I wonder if he's like low-key a little bit annoyed by being compared to
Willem Dafoe. He looks like Willem Dafoe.
Kind of looks like him.
Like, there's no other way to put it. Like, he kind of looks like him.
Yeah, it kind of looks like him.
Yeah, it looks like him. A lot of people, first thing they say, I'm like, wait, is this Willem Dafoe? Like, he literally does have. The first time you meet him, if you're looking from far, you're not paying enough attention. You're like, wait, is that Willem Dafoe? Like, you literally do that.
Yeah.
It's like you have to take that double take. You're like, wait, I feel like I know that face. and then you say to yourself, what would Willem Dafoe be doing here anyways?
Yeah, there's that resemblance.
Yeah.
You know, Ken would also probably be good for this kind of part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ken would probably be good for this. It's the father's an older person.
Gentleman.
Who's been gone.
An older gentleman, say it.
An older gentleman.
There you go.
That's fine. I feel like gentleman, when you say it, it's like a euphemism or something.
No.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know.
Euphemism for what?
Just because you suggested it. I don't know.
No, it's like an older gentleman. That's how how you describe people.
Older man.
You don't go an older man. Like it sounds like.
I think we described it like that.
An old man. It's an old man.
It's an older man is the breakdown.
You don't want to offend people of a certain age.
So yeah, if you're in Tampa Film Network, the acting group, you can go ahead and just go to the group, put an acting team, Tampa Film Network, go to the group. It's the newest announcement. Upload a video. The slides are right there in the post. Just read the slides, the sides. Upload the video in the comment section. That's all there is to it. If you're a younger young woman, 20s, don't care what your ethnicity is or whatever, just do it and put the video in there, and we'll see, and we'll try to just pair up the right two people.
Are you gonna cast the parts depending on who you cast first, or what do you think it's gonna be? The casting process like?
It'll probably just be the best combination.
Best combination.
So what I think is gonna happen is we'll go through the videos that people submit here. We'll say, well, we think these two people would be good together. We'll have them do it in person and kind of work off each other and see how their chemistry is. Yeah. And then we'll try to
important.
Yeah. And it'll largely probably just be about availability too, because if you're not available, it doesn't really matter how good you are.
Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right about that.
So that's my thing. I work with who shows up, me personally, and this is going to be.
You have to in this, and in this no budget filmmaking business, you have to.
Some people choose to work with who they feel is best for the role. I like to work with whoever is committed and shows up. How bad can you be? You know what I mean? If you're an actor, it really isn't that hard. I've worked with people who are beginners who look amazing, who act amazing.
You just gotta give them a chance, coach. Just give me a chance.
You would have to be pretty terrible. You'd have to be pretty terrible if you're very reliable and very into what you're doing. You have to be pretty. Get better. You have to be pretty terrible not to be able to work with Tampa Film Network.
Yeah, and what they say. It's practice not necessarily makes perfect, but it does make better. And the more you practice, the more experience you have under your belt, the better you'll just naturally get. It's like with anything in life. The more you practice something, the better you'll get at it.
Yep. Well, I'm sure we have plenty good people. We're basically only need two. Well, actually, I was talking to him about extras. We'll see about extras.
Probably need extras. I'm guessing.
Be an extra. Don't be a non-extra. So if you're interested in this film but you won't play an extra, don't do that. That's not cool, because one person I think would be great in this film too, and Austin mentioned them by name, was Nadia Bell. Did one of the smaller roles in Good Friends towards the end.
Yes, I was gonna say, I think I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, she'd be good for this. And as a matter of fact, if it was her and Ken, that would probably be a good combination.
That would be a really good combination, because
yeah, she's awesome. But she did a smaller role. If she gets this, she'd be the lead. So. Yep. We don't do it where going from almost non-speaking role to and go to
build
lead
actor
and then go back to a smaller role.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If I was acting, you got to understand, like, it takes everything to make a film. It takes the leads, it takes the featured characters, it takes the extras.
Yep.
We got to rotate everyone. It's got to be fair. Like, nobody's going to be doing all leads roles
all the time.
And, that's just not how it's going to be. So yeah, don't be one of those lead only people. Show up. It
looks. Be one of those. I only get out of bed for $10,000. Yeah, still one of those people.
Well, stay in bed. We don't have $10,000.
We don't get $10,000, people. We do not got $10,000. Sorry.
Yeah. If you're an actor, you want to be on set. Yeah. Some people just want to be on set, even if they're watching stuff happen and they're not really getting to do anything.
Yeah.
Love those people. Love those people.
Yeah,
I will give them stuff.
I can't remember. I just read either an article, I saw something, and they were talking about how when they first started the film. It was somebody famous when they first started the filmmaking business. Like their first film that they got, they really weren't a lead in it, but they were like, you know, they were a secondary actor, and they were pretty important to some of the plot points in the story. And they were talking, and it was a woman, and I remember her saying that when she first started acting, she didn't realize that she didn't need to come in when she wasn't filming. So every morning she would get up, go to work, basically, because she's like, oh, I gotta get to work. Even if she wasn't filming, she would show up, sit in her chair, not be called all day to film, and just kind of talk to the people on the set, you know, whenever there was a chance to talk to them. And she says that years later, she worked with the director again. And the director said, you're one of the people that really, really, you know, impressed me, because you would come to work when you didn't have to. Mm-hmm. So and she said that was probably one of the best learning experiences she had, and she didn't realize it until much later on when she herself started to direct. Yeah. So, you know, it's important to show up to set.
Yeah, it's important to show interest.
Yep.
Show that you were interested.
Yep.
Sorry, I just want to make sure this thing.
Everything's going fine.
Well, the chat went away, so I just kind of wanted to bring the chat back. I don't know how to do the thing, because there might be people saying stuff right now that's like, well, they're not saying anything. Anyway, I'll close that. I'll just bring it up on my laptop here.
Yep. Let's bring it up somewhere else.
Do you have it? Refresh this side.
This one?
Yeah, refresh your, because the live thing should come up. Then you should be able to click it and see if there's any comments. Just in case somebody has questions.
Hold on. It's working. It's working. It's magic.
Hurry
Let's
up.
see.
Why you take so long?
I can't.
Why you take so long, Ruth?
I don't know, because
People could be dying right now.
People could be dying. You're absolutely
Somebody's
right.
life could be depending on this.
Yeah.
What if they? What if they die in the next 5 minutes because you could not get the screen
fast enough to load fast enough? I mean, it's not my problem. It's not like I said, oh, you know, come on. Okay, I gotta get used to this one.
I'm gonna see if I can get there before you.
You probably will. Just remember. Getting other things, not that one quite yet. There we go. I'm afraid if I click it, what if it just goes like full-blown noise?
No, I think that's not gonna happen.
Well, it says there's only one comment, so.
Oh. Well, there was more than one comment.
Okay, then I don't know what's going on with my screen over here.
All right,
Should I click on it just to know?
I'm there.
I'm not gonna click on it. I'm afraid to break stuff, people. I'm the person that's clumsy and breaks things.
Just go ahead and click it. It doesn't matter.
I'm always like, oh, why did I break this? That's like my biggest fear, to break something that's like not mine, then I have to pay for it.
Yeah, but then you never try anything out if you're scared to break something all the time.
Yeah. It's gonna break a bone.
When I get something new, I try all the buttons.
Oh, no. That's like my worst nightmare. Can you imagine that? Like, oh, yeah, I pushed this button. Ooh, it broke. Why isn't it turning on back on again? And then I realized that I pushed the power button twice. And then, big sigh of relief. But, yeah, buttons, not my friend.
Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, well, I guess there was only one comment right now. Well, that's fine. Just wanted to make sure we weren't leaving anyone out. All right.
Okay.
You got your questions? Sorry.
No, just making sure you're over here taking care of background business. So I don't want to.
Taking care of business.
Taking care of business. Yep, that's it. Taking care of business. And so with these film, like I said, we were going to be doing something with them fundraising. We're going to be, helping with the acting. What else are we going to be helping with? And I say helping with because we're contributing to this and that.
Well, I mean, basically everything.
A little bit of everything.
So it's like it'll be weird for the first week or so, but I believe he'll
get used to it.
Everyone will get used to. Basically, we're gonna bring everything. We're gonna bring the actors. We're gonna bring the crew. The DP,
he's gonna bring some people.
Albert's gonna be DPing, but he's gonna have like a camera assistant, focus puller, everything that we need there.
That's great.
We're gonna have a lighting person. We're gonna set up a media team, so they'll just be working on like promo pictures and set photography, behind the scenes stuff.
You need a lot of behind the scenes and
that's the fundraising part too.
Yeah, that's the fundraising part, exactly. Behind the scenes stuff is part of all the fundraising part.
So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it all. We've done it before. I mean, we've done every step before. I think that we have a pretty good science.
Yeah, everything's and the great thing is that we do it on big levels, small levels, all type of levels, no matter what it is. It's doable, people. We can handle it all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, yeah.
And anything else? One last thing about the film. Anything else you want to say? Mike is yours. The floor is yours, as they would say.
Oh, well, I mean, nothing comes to mind really except, crew people. We're going to be reaching out for crew soon. Mm-hmm. You know, we're going to be coming directly through the email for the Tampa Film Network directory. But if you are interested in doing the film, just contact. Do we have a thing set up for that?
You're like,
contact me or to contact Tampa Film Network page, and just be like, I'm trying to get on Butterfly. Let us know what it is you do, in case I don't have the database open to know if you're a lighting person or a camera person or whatever. Yeah. Just be like, what is it you do? And because we're trying to engage the whole community on this. Mm-hmm. Basically,
if you have any money laying around that you would like to give people,
we don't
call in. You can contact us.
You can donate if you want to the fundraiser. Yeah. We're not going to ask for money for cast and crew, but basically for any project, right? We're not putting together a new team.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I don't think immediately comes to mind for Austin. He's not aware of that quite yet, but we're not putting together a new team. There's one acting team for Tampa Film Network. Yeah. It's got 110 people. So
out of those 110 people,
so it's just a matter of just notifying our acting team, and it's just a matter of reaching out to all of our email lists and stuff. So for every project, the acting team the actors are going to be from Tampa Film Network. The lighting people are going to be from Tampa Film Network. Everyone who is a part of Tampa Film Network who does a team job or whatever, we're just going to contact the team. And you got to join Tampa Film Network
to be notified, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to be notified, you got to join the team. You got to join the Tampa Film Network. Otherwise, you won't get that notification.
Yeah.
So there's benefits to it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, benefits to this madness.
All right.
So
make sure we're not missing a bullet. Any bullets that you wanted to cover on that?
Let's see. Anything. Well, I think we talked about the film release. We talked about the rush cuts, which are going to be deadline cuts, I'm guessing now. We talked about, what we didn't talk about that was over here. Basically, what is the future of Tampa Film Network? It says it on here that we have a little bullet point. We always we always like to talk about future projects. So maybe this would be the right time.
Make sure you didn't skip any of the thing, because I didn't want to have to come back and next week and do the same thing.
Well, we talked about good friends. We talked about. Did we talk about the production value? Well, it says the quality projects that we're making.
Okay.
And how we can improve them.
Sorry, I see the thing here. Just to wrap up the
Yeah.
Oh, we did cover that.
We pretty much
Butterfly and Good Friends are basically the same thing, except
exactly. I was like, I think we're
except for just it's more of a director-driven thing for Butterfly. So and we covered the story to participate. So who can participate? Basically, anyone who's immediately in Tampa Film Network right now is getting the stuff sent out to them right now. And if you want to be in the film and you're not in Tampa Film Network, the step is just go to tampafilmnetwork.org and sign up and just contact us. Either post in Tampa Film Network's group that you want to be on Butterfly, or email, contact me, because I'm basically producing. And just let us know you want to be in it, and I'll find out what it is you do, and we'll have some tasks, some work. There's work to be done.
Yeah. Remember, it's before Thanksgiving, so on a deadline, people. We're on a deadline. Don't wait till the last minute. You won't be called back.
Yeah, so that's who could participate, and that's we did the timeline already.
Yeah, we did. All the stuff on that page, we've pretty much gone through it. I'm already on the. All right. I'm already on the bottom.
All right, so let's get to the editing stuff.
That's right. So basically, we did talk about the status of Good Friends. We talked, about that deadline. So of the rush cut, are they interchangeable, or are they going to be
Well, actually, on the status of good friends, I did want to just show you a quick
something, a little something,
a little sample real quick.
Ooh,
but
yes.
while I'm bringing that up, so I mean, we're just facing an imminent deadline release, imminent deadline cut that should be done today. But
and you say that again, just like tentatively, because you always want that extra week. You said
I would like the extra week, but I'm gonna export something today.
You're gonna forgo the extra week.
I'm not gonna forgo another week. I'm gonna export something today. It just won't
get
be,
it up.
It won't be as what I want it to be yet, but
of course, because it's a rush cut. I'm just gonna keep saying rush cut.
No, we just say deadline cut.
I
like the name deadline cut.
Deadline cut.
Because I think the rush cut gets confused with rough cut.
It's like one of those things. Like I'm not sure if we're gonna have a hard time going back and forth, because I know I'm probably gonna want to call it rush for a while until I go no, it's deadline. Deadline cut. Maybe we should say it like that. Maybe I'll remember it better. Did it come up?
1 second. I like this tune.
Sounds like there's water running somewhere.
Yeah, it's part of the thing that I like about lo-fi hip hop is it mixes in like voiceovers from anime and like voiceovers from like these sound effects, like the water you hear. That's a part of the appeal.
Yeah.
It's not just a tune, but it's also soundtracks looped over each other and things. All right, here we go. Oh, wow.
We got it. Yes, no, maybe. A little something
Hang
here,
on.
something there.
We're almost there.
I can't have
So basically,
somebody could be dying right now because you're not.
Go to I put the link in the thing. Oh, you're gonna go
this
here.
one. Sorry,
Yeah.
I keep forgetting. Where is it at? Where's it at?
So it's gonna be hit the folder, Tampa Film Network folder. Oh no. Go to Facebook.
Really? This is what you're doing to us? This is what you do to us?
Stop complaining.
Then from here we go where?
Gonna go to.
Oh, wait, hold on. Did I mess something up? I just feel
move the arrow around in the middle, or click.
Anywhere?
Click in the middle.
Oh.
There we go.
Gosh.
There's
what did you do and what
open
did you
the
break?
chat. Open a chat with me.
Where's it at?
I'll call. Hang on 1 second.
Right there. Yes.
Yeah, open the chat with me. There you go. And
Oh,
just
come
hit the link.
Is it doing it?
Hit the yeah.
Oh my God! Why is this thing doing so many things to us?
I think you did that. Just hit it. Stop. What? You just stop.
I'm going everywhere because I can't.
Stop moving at random. First of all, close that.
Because I'm like, oh, where's everything at?
And you know what? Let me do it.
Yeah, you can't trust. See, I told you, you can't trust me. I didn't, because I don't know how to work your thing. Because I'm used to mine, because everything's touchy screen.
Okay.
So I just want to touch everything,
So
and I keep forgetting.
Here's what I did. I hit a link because that's what you didn't know. Hang on.
Like I'm so used to just like touching everything now, like my phone. And then with this, I'm like, oh, I gotta go back to like the old-fashioned way. I can't do this. How easily we forget. I do. I forget how to do stuff really fast.
Right,
I'm onto bigger and better things. That's what it is. I'm like, why can't I move this thing like I move my hand? So I'm trying to move my hand.
There we go.
Oh, there you go.
All right, let's see if we can go full screen with this.
Well, you have control of that one. I don't want to control that one because then I end up breaking things. So look at my hands. They're up here. I don't want to break anything. I feel like I'm being stopped by the cops or something. I'm like, oh my God, my hands are up.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, look, the chat box came back.
Oh, what happened?
Oh,
that's not. It just came back.
Hang on.
Oh, and now we're getting
sound. So.
Step away.
So this is basically.
What?
Hang on. We're looking at scene 1.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to show a little bit.
We're getting that feedback reverberation right there. Do you hear it? Or is it just my imagination that hears it? Well, not anymore.
A little choppy. tad bit choppy. Yeah, so these are some scenes, some shots from scene 1. And we put some nice music behind it. I think people will be surprised. I'm glad I turned the music down because it would probably sound really choppy. So we're gonna see this once we put the deadline cut out. Let me see. Where's scene 2?
Does she have her Google her when somebody's at the door too, just like you? Does she have your Google? Does she have the Google alert her?
No.
No. She just happened to hear that knock.
She hears some banging, and then she has the headphones in, because that's what I was saying about the music, and then we turn the music down when she takes the headphones off, so you can kind of hear it from her perspective. Yeah. So we're gonna have scene 2 in there.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah.
I'm guessing we need a little bit of color grading on that.
I don't think there'll be much color grading. Other than, I think it looks good, honestly. Just kind of neutral.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It looks neutral. I don't know if you wanted to pop anything out or just...
I'm going to have somebody else consider the coloring as far as like a grade. All I've done personally is just some correction. So all your highlights that were blown out.
Front back.
Yeah. Mute my mic. Hang on one second. That's what that feedback is. There we go. So we have this location here. So inside, we're gonna have that.
This is a multi-tier.
It's a good scene here.
Not just one.
And then our last scenes. So you get the idea.
Yeah.
So you can see kind of how we've been working. You can see that we've got a sequence for each scene, and it's 5 scenes in this film. That's kind of how we do it, and then we just put it all together as a final cut.
So how long do you think the final cut, not the deadline cut, but the final cut's gonna be?
I actually don't know, to be honest, because I didn't. They're section off right now. I haven't added up the time. I'll see when I put it all in one timeline.
Watch it be 3 minutes long. Okay.
That's fine. It'll probably be like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'm figuring, because it's a short. It
was like 7 pages.
Yeah,
so
remember you said it was short.
It'll be like 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's the state of.
That's it. That's what it is.
That's the state of Good Friends right now.
Yeah. And just you want to tell the folks what you're using to edit those.
Yeah. So
grab that, those highlights, bring them back. Anything that's blown out.
Well, you're looking at right now. Hang on one second. Let me pull this chat box out of the way. It was getting stuck.
See, and that's why I don't like to touch.
You see how I said there were more? See?
Oh, you're right.
I told you. I don't know why it's not showing the others. Anyways, we in Tampa Film Network we use Adobe Premiere Pro as our primary program. It's a full service professional editing program.
Yep, that's what the people with the big bugs use.
Well, actually, the other week I did a news thing where it was talking about in Hollywood they use Avid Media Composer is like the industry standard thing, is like their Premiere Pro. Although a lot of the pros actually use Premiere Pro more these days.
Yeah.
So
because it quickly integrates with all the other programs. All the other
Adobe offers. It was smart of them to create a suite on a cloud of things that work together, because that's one of the main reasons that pros use it. It's just you hook it in with Final Cut, you hook it in with Animate, you hook it in with After Effects, and it just works together. So we use Adobe Premiere Pro. Our secondary program is actually called Filmora Wondershare, and for people who don't know, it's kind of like Final Cut for Windows. It's actually a really good editing program.
The Filmora.
Filmora. Yeah, it's called Wondershare is the name of the company, and then Filmora. I
remember when it used to be just Filmora.
It is no, it's always been Wondershare is the name of the company, like Apple Final Cut, and then Filmora is the name of the program. Yeah. It's a free program to try out, and you can like
get your feet
you
wet.
You can pay
with
to unlock it, and they give you. The thing I like about it is it has so many presets for titles, and that's one thing that I don't enjoy doing in Premiere Pro, is animating titles. So often in Premiere, I end up doing the most basic shit
thing ever.
Yeah, look at this. So that's the Good Friends title in Premiere Pro. So often,
and there is no other title. I didn't see a cast and crew.
Yeah, that right now, because what I like to do now is I like to cut a video, export it out of Premiere Pro, import it into Filmora, and use Filmora to put the credits around it.
Look at that. Okay.
Because it just does a good job of animating the titles.
And you don't have to worry about it.
I don't have to design it.
Yeah,
now, you can do that in Premiere Pro. It's just Premiere Pro lets you do whatever the fuck you want to do. So it gives you all the knobs and buttons.
Too many options.
You know,
sometimes it's not a
blessing. It's too granular. I kind of want some templates to work off of. So, and I know they have that in Premiere Pro, but in Filmora, it's just easier to me. Like it's kind of made for a prosumer. It's a really steroided out consumer prosumer editor where they make it really simple to understand, and it's great for short stuff.
And so what's the transfer, like, you don't retransfer things between programs? Good.
So,
or do you get like little glitches here and there?
No glitches. So
that's a thumbs up.
Yeah, so for those who don't understand how Tampa Film Network works, so check it out. We've got the you see the scenes there. So the color person who sends me like updated colors for like this shot right here, for example. Now I could do that myself, but I'm busy cutting it or whatever. But let's say the guy's like, hey, I think it should be a lot more warm. So they will go in Premiere Pro in the exact same project file or whatever.
And just warm it up,
okay? And just save it as a new project. They'll basically name theirs color correction, and all I do is I'm the one who's going to be exporting the timeline that puts everything together. I'll just import their changes. I'll import their changes and just apply it. That's it.
There you go.
And the audio is even simpler. The audio is just basically somebody put some music, some sound effects, as long as we're picture locked to where we know the order of the clips and we're not changing that anymore. We're just adjusting things. Their timeline time code should match, and so I just import the audio. They export the audio from their timeline, and I just stack it on.
There you go.
So, and that's how you do like teamed oriented editing. There's two ways you can go about this: either linear or dynamic, and we do dynamic.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why don't you explain what we do?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and explain what's the difference between linear and dynamic editing with a team?
I'm asking you. Why don't you explain exactly how we do what we do?
All right, so linear is like straightforward. I'm gonna do my part of the editing, and once I'm done, I'm done.
And you're gonna pass it on to the next person.
Now, Alejandro, for example, is gonna come in and do the second part. So let's say I put all the clips together. Right, I put the cut together, I edit, and then I'm done. I picture lock. This is the order of the clips. These are all the clips we're using. We're done. In a linear, I'm done with mine. I send it to. Sorry, the soundtrack is throwing me off just a little bit. Turn it down a little bit, can you? There we go.
Right there. There you go.
I guess that's fine.
Lower.
So in linear, I would basically just save part one. Alejandro opens part one.
Continues the work.
Continues under the name part two. So he has everything that I did, and now he starts to color correct. He starts to audio correct. So he gets all that correction done. All right, now he's done. Part two is done. Save it as part two. Part three guy comes in
and does
opens
the same
it,
thing.
right? And until we get done.
You know that this is what this is. Boring.
No, it's not.
No,
it's interesting.
It's boring as in like, the process of it, like as in like
Well, for people who don't know.
No, as in like, oh, I gotta wait for this to be done. Aw.
Yeah. So that's why we. Person. Yeah. So that's kind of how linear goes, and it basically
you're playing the waiting game basically.
Well, so here's what it is you define however many parts to the editing process there are. Mm-hmm. There's going to be somebody who cuts the film together. There's going to be color correction, audio correction. There's going to be grading.
Yes.
Right. And what's the last thing you do? Titles.
Yeah.
Right. So you have
that's one of the parts you're. Yeah. That's when you switch it over to film more.
Yeah. So there's a guy who's going to do the titles, and that's going to be the last guy in the chain. So once you're at that point, you either have 5 editors, or you had like 3 or 2 just having to do 2 or 3 different jobs, right? And that's linear. It's one you kind of have to wait for it to go down the line. That's why we don't do that.
Yeah,
we do dynamic.
Because it's a little, like I said, it is playing a waiting game. You're always waiting on the last person to be done so that you can start.
Yeah. So now dynamic with a team editing setting is more fun, and it's better, and that's what we do.
Yes, fun, people, fun.
So that's where I'm editing something and you're editing something at the same time.
Yeah.
The same damn time. So it's like right now I'm editing this. Alejandro's gonna send me color corrections.
And you
all I have to do is all he has to do is save it to the same folder.
And you just drop it in.
And I just drop it in. We stay in sync. We use Resilio Sync, so it's like we have one project folder. Mm-hmm. It's just what we do is I have my own file, project file. I name it the process that I'm doing. So if I'm doing a final cut, rough cut, that's what I'm dropping in the folder. Mm-hmm. Alejandro's doing the color correction. He drops color correction in the folder. Whenever he tells me something new there, or I look at the date timestamp and I see there's something new there, or I get the notification, I can import it, apply the settings. Or like I said, the time with the sound, it's even easier. I just drop the sound on the top, and that's happening at the same time, and it's more fun, and it often is faster.
All to collaborate, you communicate. Like, hey, you think this is cool? You think this looks cool? You just start to go here and there. It's a lot funner than waiting for the last person to be done so you can start.
Yeah, and what we're doing right now is we're like streaming to each other at the same time. So it's like we use Discord, and like it's just like when people playing video games, they stream what they're doing online. Same thing, just for editing.
Okay.
And that's kind of how the editing process works. And
nice and easy, people. Nice and easy. As long as you know how to edit.
As long as you know. Yeah.
As long as you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You can always learn.
You can always learn.
There's always ways. You should always be learning something.
The whole process right now is learning.
Yeah, there's always new ways for you to, you should always be trying to learn something new. You should always be trying to get more skills. In life, you can never have enough skills. When I die, when I die and I have a tombstone, I just wanted to list off all the skills that I had. Like, knows how to make cupcakes. Also.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Also, knows how to work Photoshop. So, it's like just like a list of things that I knew how to do. It's like, while she was alive, this is what she did.
I just want mine to say he died as he lived.
And that's it? No, I just want like a resume on there of things that I knew how to do. And then at the very bottom, she did all these things, just not very well. Especially the baking part.
Yeah. The day before I die, I'm going to get my name legally changed to Who Dis. So they put that on the headstone.
You can tell. I mean, you can put whatever you want on a headstone. You don't have to get your name legally changed. Just be like, this is just in your will. Be like, this is what I want in your living will. Just put it down and be like, this is what I want. My headstone to say.
I wonder what happens to cemeteries, like families who own cemeteries, like if they go bankrupt or they don't want the cemetery anymore.
Oh, you can't. You really can't go bankrupt. Death is one business that is always booming.
Well, actually, the cemetery kind of went bankrupt. Or you know what? At one of the cemeteries locally, the owner died, and like they didn't
know what to do.
Well, the family didn't want it anymore.
Yeah. Well,
so I wonder what happens. Like, does the city buy it or own it now?
No. There's actually ways. There's actually laws. I don't know why I know this, but I know this. This is what I'm talking about. Knows useless information. It can go right up top. Knows useless information that nobody else cares about but her. But apparently there's like insurances and laws and things like that that are in place. And basically, you know how people always say, oh, well, what happens when a cemetery is full? It'd be the same thing as when doesn't anybody want it? There is like laws, like I said, and like an insurance in place where that just couldn't happen.
What can happen?
Like the bank, like the cemetery could just go bankrupt, or nobody would take care of it. There's always somebody gonna take care of it.
Well, like the city would own it or something like that.
Yeah, it's like
just imagine being that
a bunch of paperwork.
Imagine being that dickhead real estate developer or something who buys a cemetery and it's like, I want to turn this into a strip mall.
You can. It's done before.
And they just tear it. They just break all the headstones down, and they just pave over it.
They do that. What are you talking about?
They do that?
Yeah, they do.
Well, you just told me that they have laws in place to make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, now, not back in the day.
Well, you talking about back in the day they did that?
Back in the day they did that. Do you hear that story? Okay, guys, people. Truthfully, here in Tampa, this happened.
All right. Well, this is priority news right here.
Yeah, priority news. Like, there used to be like these government, government property. It used to have it was just in the news the other day. It used to have like back when slavery just got abolished here in Tampa, there used to actually be a cemetery just for black folks, basically. And yeah, no,
I know where this is going.
Yeah, no, really, I know, right? It's bad.
It's and they buried under 2 feet of pavement under some mall somewhere. Or something
no,
like that.
Actually, public housing.
That's fucked up.
Why did you make me laugh on that one? That's not something to laugh at.
You didn't have to laugh.
But you said it's so funny.
You think it's funny.
Probably.
Using me as cover. We shouldn't be laughing at this.
You're absolutely right. We shouldn't be laughing at this. But because it's you just just...
Well, if somebody's going to get screwed over and something like that, it's going to be black people. It's going to be ethnics. It's going to be minorities.
Yeah, and basically that's what they did. And the only reason they found out is because there was like a society that was trying to find out, because this was one of the first black-only cemeteries in Florida, apparently.
Yeah.
And so there were certain records of it until a certain time, and then all of a sudden it just kind of disappeared off of the map of Tampa.
Somebody bought that. I was like, you know what?
I'm gonna make this, and then
stop putting this in the Florida Sentinel.
Yeah, and then eventually, it got bought by somebody else, and eventually that person sold it to the city, and that's where that public housing came from. But even that, I'm pretty sure wasn't.
The city did it. Oh. That's disgusting.
I mean, but it was
I would
years,
think that
years
the city
later.
has I guess back in the day.
Years later. Yeah, because there was no accurate record keeping, which is sad. And
they had record keeping. They just didn't bother keeping records for certain people.
Yeah. And apparently the only reason, like I said, it just recently came up in talks because somebody's trying to take down that public housing and put something new there. Like you said, like, I don't know if it's a strip mall or anything.
I think the recent thing that I heard about was a black cemetery.
Yeah, that's probably what you heard about.
That's probably the one.
That's the one, yeah. That's the one. So, it was all over the news.
Like, they don't want it, like, they didn't want it in their family anymore. It was a black-owned cemetery, or it was a black-only cemetery?
A black-only. Yeah.
So...
Because, segregation and stuff, people. Because not even in death could you be together. Apparently there's going to be, like, a white heaven and a black heaven for these people who are racist. Or I don't know. And in hell, I guess you're all together? What is it?
I don't know.
I mean, come on. What does the racist think? So if you're in hell with a person that you of a different color that you don't like,
to be a racist religious person is
those are
very ridiculous.
But those are the people, exactly the same people who usually are. People who are so, just they're holding on to that anger and they a lot of times they make things in their mind from what they read. This is what I believe, so they make the scripture fit what they believe. Yeah. Which is sad because that's, it is what it is. It isn't what you want it to be.
Yeah.
As much as you want it to be. It is what it is.
You need to wrangle your people together.
And
going off the reservation.
Yeah. Yeah, like those are sometimes the people who are just like, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so those people, are they going to be like, if they're together, if there's a hell, then I guess black people and white people will be together in hell because that'd be hell, right? But in heaven, only people that look just like you. Because that would be a racist dream, right?
I don't know.
Do you not think about racist people?
I don't think racist people use their brain very often. To be honest with you, I don't think
they probably don't think that far ahead. It's only me.
I can't predict non-existent thoughts. they're just living off their bile and impulses and stuff. I don't know. They're like animal. I don't know. Anyways, next movie. Yeah, historical film about racism. No. Oh. No, never.
No. Well, like I said, no, it was just like, it does happen. And you asked, so I answered the question, because I know things, because I know stupid things all the time, because that's one of my, one of those key set skills I have. Knowing things about things that nobody cares about.
Remembering minutia.
Because this is what I do, people. No, I think I learned it because of an economics something, because it was like the economics of cemeteries. And basically one of the taglines was, death is always booming. And I always thought that was actually a really good, clever tagline for that episode of like, it's like an economics podcast. And I thought it was really, really good. I was like, that's a really good tag. It's the business is always booming because everybody dies.
Well, you won't have customers if everyone dies.
Yeah, but eventually everybody dies.
Yeah, I guess so.
But supposedly, I don't know how true this is, but supposedly there's more, in the United States at least, there's more people dying than are being born right now.
No, there's not more people dying than being born right now. Yeah. I think what happened is the life expectancy has gone down for the first time in like forever how many decades. Like our life expectancy kept going up and
everything that goes up must come down, people.
So I don't know if that means that that doesn't mean the same thing as there's more people being born or less people being born or more people dying than being born. I don't know.
Something like that. Anyways, we're in an inverted triangle of population, whatever.
I think it's just life expectancy is gone.
Maybe
down.
That's what it is. I don't know.
I'm sure those other numbers play in somehow. But,
yeah. It's just like I said, another thing that I don't know much about, which I think I know a lot about. Yeah, because I was hearing something about Japan and how they have actually less people. They actually do have less people being born in Japan, and more people, obviously more older people.
Yeah, they have an older population.
And people live longer. Eventually, it's all these old people are gonna die, and there's not enough young people to support the older people. Which
they keep hanging
sad.
on.
They're
so healthy. They're living so long, and it's like they have the rest of their life is just retirement.
Yep.
Here you're gonna get about 10, 20 years of retirement.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, but that's because Americans aren't very active. It would be the word. Active in their retirement.
Maybe not the healthiest people.
No. As in, it doesn't have to be.
You mean
like exercise and going out and play tennis? Not like that. It just means that a lot of times when Americans retire, they're just like, it's time to rest. Basically, it's just time to sit in front of the TV and do nothing. Maybe. And in Japan, they have a very active older community. They go to parks, they take care of the grandkids, and in America, you just don't do that. I think that's one of the reasons why they live longer and we live shorter, because they say that there's nothing. Like, I always remember somebody telling me, like, it's like the day you stop working, like, you get closer and closer to your, like, deathbed, basically, because you're not doing anything. So your body's just withering away.
Okay.
So people out there, don't retire. Don't stop working.
Well, I'm looking forward to retiring. And
don't stop believing.
I'll just be watching a lot more Netflix when that happens.
Yeah. He's the one contributing to, like, the high death toll in America.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to outlive most people.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick around.
Well, hey, you're going to stick around.
Very carefully.
Yeah.
I'm trying to eat more healthy. But it's a habit. I'm cooking more often now.
That's good.
So that's.
You're gonna get a cooking show from you pretty soon.
It's just so easy to not cook anything. Like I buy all my groceries come directly from Walmart. They get delivered. For those who don't know, Walmart has delivering groceries.
Yes,
it's one of the greatest inventions ever.
Now T doesn't ever have to go out of his house. He can just stay in his hermit hole.
I just come out, like, I got the delivery box to the right of my door. You saw it. It's like this tall.
Yes,
they just put the groceries in there, put the top back on.
I can imagine.
I come down, open the door, reach in the box, grab all my groceries, go back in like a little crab.
He comes. I can just imagine you, like, he has like a cape, puts it over his face, and like the sun hits, like, sun.
I usually have shades on too.
Yeah.
I'll put on my shades
because he doesn't go out. He just stays in this. He just stays here and does podcasts and editing all day long.
Yeah. Well,
what do you do for fun? Editing.
Well, I don't have. work just to not have any misconceptions out here. I'm not independently wealthy or anything.
I thought you were financing this whole entire film.
I'm not a trust fund kid. I work. So other than work, I'm a single bachelor. I just do film stuff. That's all.
That's all he does. Just film stuff. Oh man, really? I don't know what we just went and got.
Yeah, that was
off
you.
Topic.
You did that.
Because I always do that. Because I was like, oh no, I actually know exactly how that works and this and that. And so of course I go totally off topic. But yeah, there's actually one other thing I wanted to talk about since we're talking about editing and stuff like that. But there's one here that I was like, oh, I really want to talk about this one. I thought it was really interesting because we almost never talk about the drawbacks of a process. We always talk about how awesome it is.
Yeah, I love focusing on just the positive, like how awesome it is. Drawbacks of Tampa Film Network's editing process.
There is none, people. There is none.
Drawbacks of Tampa Film Network's editing process is there's a learning curve for people who haven't done it before that, it may not seem intuitive to a lot of filmmakers because we do a lot of stuff on our own and then we understand, we can just break this up in a team. The first question that gets asked, isn't that more complicated? Doesn't that, lend itself more to, problems and things like that? Should we just keep it simple? No, it's actually pretty simple. We got to work down to a science. There's a process of getting everybody's folder in sync, making sure that you have your file name, I have my file name, and just staying in constant communication. It's a pretty simple editing process.
It's just all about communicating at the end of the day.
The communication, you have to do that. Yeah, that's important. You have to do that, but that's not a drawback. I don't know as far as drawbacks of Tampa Film Network's editing process. I don't know that there are
because TJ's perfect and nothing he would ever
really any. Think about it for a second.
He's like, what could they be? What could they be?
I don't know, because it's more fun when you work on something with other people. It's just more fun. The only drawback, I guess, would be
people who don't come through.
Nah. That's a drawback of anything.
Of anything, yeah. I mean, that's like with anything, like you said. Let's see. No, we're perfect. Screw it, we're perfect.
I'm struggling.
We're perfect. No, that's it.
I'm struggling.
There is no faults. There is no drawbacks. That's the correct answer.
Yeah, there's no drawbacks.
We are perfect. This system is perfect.
It's a very learned system.
Yeah, it just basically requires you to be independently motivated in a lot of ways for you to get what you need to get done.
Well, it does lend itself for letting everyone involved be creative.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
Because you're not having anybody, poking you, hey, what's that gonna, hey, this and that. Like, you either gotta do it because you like it. There's no money involved.
Yeah.
It's independent filmmaking, people. We're not rich here, like you said. So, it's like you have to basically put in the time because you like to do it, not because you're getting paid.
Yeah. I can't think of any drawbacks right now, so let's just say there are none. There are no drawbacks right now.
Yeah, because the system is perfect.
It's perfect. It's foolproof. There's nothing that could possibly
I will prove you wrong today.
Ever go wrong. I mean, the whole process of coming up with what we have now has been, we had a project in the past where there was
this
only
didn't
one.
work out, so then we gotta.
Well, there was only one copy of the footage, so now we have multiple copies. Something got broken, so now we have a system that's better.
Somebody can't just take something. And say, hey, we're not.
So it's just kind of like we just created a list of things that we don't want to, mistakes that we don't want to make again, and you just kind of build the process around that.
Yeah, the system, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so drawbacks, I don't think there are many, if any, right now. If I encounter one, I'll let you know. I'll let you guys know.
Okay. You see, so basically he's saying this is perfect, foolproof.
It's perfect.
There you go. That's all I wanted to hear. Perfect.
It's perfection.
So what is, the next question would be, what is the future? What do you expect in the future? Obviously beyond the butterfly short contribution.
Oh, we want to continue doing shorts.
Beyond.
As far as this project, or what's in the future of just Tampa Film Network?
Yeah, in general, what are your dreams, hopes, and aspirations?
My dreams, hopes, and aspirations. Well, let me talk about the work that I've been doing with Film Punks. Not Film Punks, Tampa Film Network. What I hope happens for Tampa Film Network is we reach the Rubicon where we can actually start to pay people, and we can actually start to well, ideally Tampa Film Network becomes profitable at some point. You know?
That's the dream for most things, right?
Because right now Tampa Film Network is
broke.
Let me get this annoying thing off the screen real quick. Sorry, I see it out of the corner of my eye.
Everything bothers you.
That's the old logo anyways. Here we go. This is the new one. So at some point
you want to make money.
No, well, not me personally. I'm just talking Tampa Film Network. At some point Tampa Film Network would like to be able to pay people because it will let them do it more.
Yes.
And do it even better.
Yes.
You know, when you don't have to worry about going to work because it's your job to edit, or it's your job to act, or it's your job to do lighting or direct or whatever, it just changes things. You know what I mean? People show up. People put more into what they do. And that comes with its challenges because, you know, employment is employment, and that brings all the complications that brings. But I think it's a good problem to have. So at some point, Tampa Film Network becomes profitable. I'm not sure when that is, but I know the steps leading.
The future? Sometime in the future?
I know the steps leading up to it have to be we get good at creating content on a regular basis, and then we start creating a whole lot of content because our membership grows, and then we have the ability to go and approach networks or whatever and say, look at this, we have this much content that can fulfill your needs for whatever your block is. We can offer programming. We can offer a season of something to Netflix or whatever. We sell something, and then we go to our community who's involved, and we just start paying everybody. You know, we're creating. That's the whole step one. Step two, get good at creating. Step three, create a whole lot of shit. Step four, sell it. You know.
So this is like point 1, point 2, and point 3.
Yeah, but
like it's such easy steps. It's just like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
but in between those, obviously, there's A, B, C, D, and the whole entire alphabet.
Yeah, but there is no next month or next year you're gonna start selling or making money or anything like that. Some people are like, why don't you start making money or something like that? It just doesn't work that way. Like it. You don't just
you got to get good at something to be honest.
That's success. You don't just become successful because you want to become successful. You become successful because you put in
the time and the hour and the
because
effort.
You're consistent. You understand the milestones that you have to reach. You continue to not be selfish and do things that are in the best interest of
the group instead of
the organization instead of the individual. Exactly.
I feel like we're talking about Avengers or something here.
Well. That's so as far as the future, immediately just more content, getting back to acting practices,
getting more things out.
Yeah, just more short films. So we're starting to pick it up. We finished Good Friends. We're starting Butterfly. The next thing is we want to try and do something with Anthony. We'll have some more stuff coming down the pike. So we're building a machine. And we're trying to get it running the right way. We're trying to have it well oiled, and then we're trying to go somewhere. Once our machine and our engine is
once we build it,
well built and kinks worked out.
This is like Phil's dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Well, if we build it, we can go somewhere.
Yeah, he's like they won't come. We'll go to them.
Yeah, where we're not reactive. We're not waiting. We're not hoping. We're making stuff. We're doing stuff. We're being proactive. And that's worth something. Yeah.
So and that's it. That's the.
As far as the future,
he's like that's the future.
I don't see anything else unless you have any ideas.
No, I'm just wondering if that's it because that's a mighty list right there.
The podcast.
It sounds easy, but it's.
The podcast is part of that. So
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what do you see the podcast doing in the future?
What's the podcast doing in the future? Well, I mean, I think it's doing fine right now. The only thing is
more viewership.
Not more viewership, just more programming maybe. So right now what we do is kind of for our own little community.
Group,
so, we're talking about films that have to do with Tampa. But I guess ideally that expands not just for Tampa Film Network, but it becomes all of Tampa. It involves projects that are not in Tampa Film Network, but in Tampa.
But in Tampa, in the actual area of Tampa.
I mean,
the Bay. How about we just say the Bay Area? So we include St. Pete, Clearwater, Vanellas, Pasco. What other county is close by? So we can include them in this one.
Right, but as opposed to like doing a show that everyone else does, that's like about filmmaking everywhere or the filmmaking industry. There's plenty of filmmaking podcasts out there about the industry, to where they hear about news, they cover it and cover their perspective. We could be doing that, but that is already being offered. This has to do with us. It's not being offered, and it's actually useful for people in Tampa Film Network.
Independent filmmakers,
Yeah. There's some people in Tampa Film Network who didn't know about Butterfly, who are gonna be interested in Butterfly. And
so look at those sides and get on your little phone and click away. Send it over so we can look at it. You can take a look at it.
Yeah, make a quick video if you want to do the film, and it's very simple. It's very easy.
Okay, and so I think we just talked about everything we needed to talk. I feel like we did.
You got all your questions answered?
Did we actually talk about without me going on like some crazy rant last time, except for the cemetery thing? Because I wasn't. You asked. You should have never asked.
We never don't
ask questions.
You sure are loud.
Yes, I am loud. Don't ask questions you don't want the answers to from me. No, it's me. I'm really loud.
Yeah. Anyways, we never got to talking about. Remember, we were supposed to talk about Roma. We were supposed to watch it and talk about it.
I love Roma.
You love it?
Yeah.
I didn't.
You did it. You did tell me. Yeah.
We can kind of talk about it at a high level. High level, it was just one of those. It was a very indie film. Feel like that. Do you agree with that or disagree with that? It's a very, very indie film. You like that description?
No, I don't think it's necessarily an indie film. I think it was a film. I think it had a lot. I don't know how to explain it, but I think it's actually more of the experimental kind, because
what else would you call indie?
Oh no, there's a lot of films that are, like, I think when people think of
Look
indie,
at this shit, it won Best Picture.
Hey, it is really good.
It really won Best Picture?
Yeah.
That is such bullshit. It is not that good. No.
Well, what do you think should have won that year?
Well, what was up? Anything other than Roma? Roma wasn't a great film. To me.
Well, to you. Everybody has different tastes and opinions. I think it was also a language barrier. A lot of people didn't.
That's not a problem for me.
No, but I go back to the idea. I go back to Americans don't necessarily like that, and we've also we're becoming accustomed to like the boom boom power, superhero movies. So I think that also. Well,
that's really, always been around, and everyone acknowledges.
And action. Before it was westerns, and before and film noir. And
everyone acknowledges those films are not good stories. They're just kind of there for entertainment, which not really. And that's what I'm saying. Like, either.
I like this story. It was actually a good story to me. It was a good story. It was a story about. It was a quiet story. It wasn't anything. It wasn't like, oh my God, super dramatic things are happening, even though the story does have very dramatic things that do happen in the story.
Yeah.
Divorce happens.
The subject matter is definitely deep.
Yeah. It's very, and I think it's a very personal film. And I think had Alfonso Cuarón not had the previous success he's had, do I think this film would have gotten made? No.
Let's not talk about made. How about would it have gotten an award if it wasn't Alfonso Cuarón? Would it have even been nominated?
If it wasn't,
I say no.
I think it would have.
I say no.
Definitely been nominated at Cannes. It would have been nominated at Venice. I would even go to Toronto. Would it have won an Academy Award? No. And it goes right back to the caveat of Americans. Sorry, am I too far now? Yeah. First I was too close, now I'm too far, people. I just think Americans don't. It's also black and white. The subtitles, the language barrier.
Black and white is fine. That's
but
fine.
Not for everybody. We're talking about.
No, it doesn't. That really doesn't matter. The language barrier doesn't matter. The black and white doesn't matter.
I think it's just a harder entry point for people. And it also wouldn't have been an American, because it would have been a foreign film. This
but
was,
you're thinking about all these things that don't really matter about it.
No, it does.
Here's what I think.
It does, because had it not been Alfonso Cuarón, like I said, I think had it just came out by a different person, even though it's a great story, great surrealism in it, I think it's beautiful.
So what's so great about the story?
It's about him. This is a deeply personal story.
It's about who?
Alfonso Cuarón. This is his personal life.
That's why it's not a good film.
But it is, because so many people go through. It's his personal story, but he's looking at it, but he's telling it to what, unfortunately, and I do say unfortunate because I do think it's unfortunate, because you obviously know my views about people and divorce. I think it's unfortunate that so many people are getting divorced and so many kids are left by the wayside. I think it is an unfortunate epidemic that we have, especially in the United States. It was just him looking at what has become a very universal story, where your parents just don't get along, and you as a child don't understand why. Why can't your mom and dad just get along and love each other the way you love your brothers, and
why can't they just be mom and dad?
Exactly. Literally, that's what it is. And so many kids do struggle with that. And I think not only do you see that from his point of view, but you also see it from the mother's point of view. She's also wondering, well, why can't we just get along? And you also see a little bit of sliver, and it all gets told, with interjections from different story points, and the maid, there's this surrealist story on top of it.
Well, the thing is, this story is told from the point of view of the maid. This is about the maid. It's about a domestic worker.
But it's not just about
family.
But she's not just a domestic worker. That's what you're led to believe, because the child doesn't see her as just a domestic worker.
No, the child doesn't, but neither does the audience. The audience doesn't see her as they understand that domestic workers often she's part of the family in a lot of ways, and especially in countries like Mexico, Panama, Costa Rica, Venezuela, in like a lot of countries where, because even people well, here they're part of the family
it's
too.
Unfortunate, yes and no.
Yeah, they are. Well, it kind of depends on if they live there or not.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Most people here don't. An au pair.
First of all, most people here don't have live-in maids.
And that's what I'm saying. An au pair here would probably be the closest thing that I could think of to a maid. In countries like, and this is the thing, you see, Americans just don't know. If you live in Mexico, and in Mexico there was a point before the what I like to call la devaluación, but it's really what it really was, just the government came and basically took everybody's money away and gave it to the president basically gave it to all his family. That's really what happened in Mexico. And that's when you saw that higher rise of people immigrating from Mexico to the United States. The same thing happened a couple of years ago with people from Venezuela. The government came in, the president came in, the government was corrupt, and the same thing happened. Started taking people's money away, contracts, and so people from Venezuela started immigrating more and more to the United States. Because the people who can get out will get out. And those same people that got out are the same people that had maids living in their home, or they had somebody that would be there most of the day and then at night go home. They would be there and they would do everything from cooking to cleaning to raising your children. And you didn't have to be crazy rich, because and I hate to say it, did you remember The Help, that movie? How back in the 50s, black women would go into the suburbs, and basically do the same thing. It's basically the same exact thing.
Well, that's why I was saying it's not such a foreign concept that nannies or maids are like members of the family.
But that happened. But these people, what happened there was, this happened less than 20 years ago. This was still going on in these countries.
Well, this has been going on since
here in the United States. That stopped like way back in the day, and it wasn't happening in the north. It did happen in the south, but even then it stopped like around the 50s, because there was avenues open for minorities, and that's one of the reasons why that type of lifestyle changed. It just, when segregation ended, a lot of that type of living arrangement just naturally started to fade away, because you don't see that much. But in Spanish countries, I know for a fact, I have a cousin, and her husband is a teacher, and he teaches like in these very poor rural, that's like he chose to teach in these very poor rural communities where some of the people don't even speak Spanish. They speak like a dialect. And those people, and like she tells me, she's like, it's so weird because it's almost like they're unashamed. She's like, I'll go, and because she doesn't live there with him all the time, but she lives with him sometime of the time when he's teaching at those places. And she says, when I go and visit him there, when he teaches, like he has that teaching position, like at that specific, like little, place out there in the middle of the mountains. She says that it's so funny because these women, they'll go out, they'll still wash in the river. There is still these indigenous women out there, just like her. That's why it was such a big deal, because she's an indigenous person. And she says, like, these people, sometimes they don't speak Spanish very well. They speak more of a dialect. And they are not treated as less than. People don't pity them. Where I think here in the United States, people were treated less of these black maids in the 50s, and in places like Mexico and Venezuela, they are literally part of the family. Like, you celebrate their birthdays, you buy them Christmas presents, not just to give them a bonus. They are there to see a child born, and and it's just like the whole entire idea with grandparents too. If you have a grandparent, eventually they not only take care of the kids, they also end up taking care of the older grandparents and see them die. And and they go to the funeral, and and they're a very integral part of the family.
Right. So that's all normal. So here's the thing. Roma was very boring. It was boring because, first of all, the protagonist, you remember her name? She's the maid there.
Yeah.
She's, first of all, not a
Her name is Roma. She's not an actress. She's actually a teacher.
Whatever. She's not an active protagonist, in which it's a story about a character who is going through their life, and they're making decisions, and the film is revolving around the results of their decisions and their reaction to those results and things like that. She's just a maid who's just kind of going through her life, and this feels like a very authentic film. So I do like and appreciate that. But with slice of life films, would you characterize this kind of as a slice of life film?
Yes, okay. In a lot of ways.
Very,
yes.
Very much, right? It kind of goes down the road of filmmaking as reality. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we know in storytelling, filmmaking isn't really reality.
Exactly, it's not.
It's metaphor for reality.
Yes.
Because things have to be dramatized. Things have to be designed for an audience experience.
And the thing is that you might not find it interesting, because he actually, if you listen to his interviews, he said, I wanted things to be, how we're talking at the beginning about nostalgia? He basically recreated his childhood.
I believe it.
And that's exactly what he did.
But that's the personal story. That's kind of like it's a story type called the personal story.
Yeah.
Bad screenplay. As Robert McKee calls it, the personal story bad screenplay.
And like I said,
it's always about it's focused on hyper realism. It usually has a lot of nostalgia in it.
Of course,
but it doesn't.
And we're living in the era of nostalgia, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side of the fence you're on.
I don't know about that.
We are. Everything's getting every time I turn around, a remake. Some things are being brought back, and it's because people who loved the stuff are now in power. So things, and it comes in cycles.
Okay, well that's fair, but that's always existed.
Yeah.
And
that's what I said. It comes in cycles.
To the sense that Hollywood is a business-driven thing. It's conservative. It's gonna go with what has worked in the past, and that's kind of why we have remakes and reboots and all that.
A lot of them.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, monetary wise, of course, it makes sense.
But storytelling wise, the reason that this film struggled is because it was focused on being so hyper real, and it felt real.
And it wasn't, because there is a lot of. Wait, hold on. Did we watch the film?
So here's one thing that I feel like you're describing. So here's some nostalgia of it. You remember the intro of the father? he's backing in with his car, and he's like, and he's getting it just right, and he's going back, he's straightening it back up, and they've got this narrow driveway for some reason. I can tell the focus was on, seeing his hands on the wheels and how he wanted to get the car just right.
Because that's how kids
and the music,
see their father.
Sure. And the music playing. And it's like the father character is like a symbol of a father.
Well, most fathers are in any film.
Yeah, and they pay attention to the parts of the father that you often pay attention to.
When you're a child.
When you're a child, that's true. But we understood as adults what was happening throughout the story.
Yeah.
But what we also understood is, our maid character wasn't really, she was important to the family, but not important to the story. And that, except.
But it is her story.
But what I'm saying is she's not an active protagonist making changes in the story. Things are just kind of happening around her and happening to her, and she's kind of reacting and being a part of it.
I think.
But that's the part that I personally didn't enjoy, and I don't think
you might be right in an aspect, because I think women in general are that way.
I don't think it has anything to do with her being a woman. I just think that a lot of
it does, because women in general in film tend to, and in life really, we tend to let things happen as opposed to being active protagonists in our own lives in general.
In storytelling, you either have an active or a passive protagonist.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I think that's what, and I think that when you talk about realism, that's what exactly what you're talking about. The fact that she's
a woman. I think it's just the fact
I'm not
that
saying
this is the
that.
film that Alfonso
because
was going to make.
Because most of the time, women things happen to them in most films. That's just the way it is.
But women also take drastic action.
And she did. And she did, and there was a lot of ways.
There was only one drastic action she took.
Which was?
She ran into the ocean to try and save the kid. That's
no.
Well, she's had a relationship with
the biggest one was when she actually went to look for the guy who was obviously avoiding her. She went out of her way to look for this person.
Okay, that's fair.
And and then you see that magical realism that's in the film, where the plane is going back. There's the luchador, and he's like only which is something silly, because we all know that we can all stand on one foot, close our eyes, have balance. But it almost, but that's something that a child would believe. A child would believe that only the truly magical can do something so simple, But the film
are you talking about the guy who was training the military people?
Yeah. Well, they were not military. They were like ninjas. Because there was, even in Mexico, just like in the United States, there was like this revolutionary, kung fu movement.
That wasn't through the perspective of a child, though.
No. But the story that Alfonso is telling, he's telling us he remembers it as a child.
I think certain things.
And that's where I said the magical realism comes from.
Right.
She becomes almost superhuman when she's there. She is. Besides the guy, the professor teaching that, all the military, as you want to call them, all those military ninja kung fu people, none of them could do it, but she could.
So here's the thing: the whole story isn't told from the point of view of a child, not the entire story.
No, it's not.
She's not a child; she's an adult.
Of course not.
There's a certain part of this movie that comes through. Feeling like you're looking as a child, and there's a certain part coming through feeling like you're looking as an adult. The thing that has to do with the training was just kind of how people were being trained at the time, and the idea that young men needed something to believe in, and so
young men always need something to believe in.
They gave them that. It was kind of hyper real to show that anyone can do it. It's not just a man's thing.
No. You see, the thing is, that's not what it was. That's not. We're talking about magical realism. We're talking about the fact that she's the only one that can do it. Nobody else in that field can't do it.
Exactly what it was.
But exactly. See, she did it. Nobody else did it.
Right. I remember what you were talking about.
And when I say it was, and when you say, it's made through a child's point of view, I don't necessarily think it's that. I think it's Alfonso making a story as he remembers certain things in his childhood aspect.
But he
as an
wasn't
adult.
There for that part.
Of course, he wasn't there for that part.
But
I'm just saying
it would make sense if he thought,
and that's not the first example of it. There's other examples in the story.
Right, but
where things like that happen. And most of the time it happens when she's away from the family, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, so it would make sense if his idea of the maid was, big sister can do anything. So, well, of course, he would have told a story like that.
But the truth is that when you're a child and you look up to somebody, but they can do everything.
Yeah, so that makes sense. But that's not a part. That's not a part of the story that he would have heard from her. She wouldn't have told him that story.
But it's not about what she told him. It's like what he. Even if maybe she did tell him, but it's how he feels about her and how
he may
believes
see her
that
as
she's
a superhero.
Exactly, she believes that she's super powerful, and it has a lot to do. That's what I'm saying.
That makes sense, but it's still. The effect is this story is boring though. It's like
it just depends. I mean,
all the stuff is believable. It's super believable. But
the thing is that the film has a lot of magical realism. If you're not seeing it, that's your problem.
So what's magical about the realism? Why
it's called magical realism?
What does it mean?
What do you do when you think of Dali, the artist? Like basically, that's exactly what it is right there, but with a magical twist to it, basically.
So what is
realism? It's like where things are real, but just a little off kilter. In magical realism, it's where things are just real, a little off-centered, and then there's just a little touch of like the extraordinary happening. Things that me and you both know that there's, like when something happens to you and you're like, that's magic. Like let's say you throw a quarter and it stands on its side as opposed to landing on heads or tails, it just stays. That would be, you would think that's magic.
Well, what I think you're describing,
and to a child, that's exactly what life looks like a lot of ways.
Okay, well, I think you're describing is it would make sense for a child, but what you're describing is looking at something ordinary as if it is magic and as if it is very extraordinary. Somebody being able to stand on one leg when everybody else is not doing it, and this person happening to be a maid or someone you wouldn't expect.
But that's the thing, he doesn't see her as a maid. He just sees her as a person who takes care of him, part of his family, a friend, confidant, a person who's there in his, his time of need, a hero.
Yeah, fine. Is one of the characters him?
Yes.
All right.
The smallest boy.
All right, but the film isn't about him.
No, it's about her. It's about how it is about him. It's about how he views this woman who he loved very much. You can obviously tell because otherwise he wouldn't have made that story. He loved her and she was a integral part of her life. And I think that if you asked anyone who's ever been raised by a maid or a nanny, there is, at a certain age, they are just, if not more, as important than your parents.
Yeah, I hear
you. Because they're the ones that when your parents, chastise you and they send you to your room, she's the one that sneaks in the candy. She's the one that goes in and, gives you that extra scoop of ice cream. The one that comforts you when you're crying because your parents can't do. It's like it almost becomes like a grandparent in a lot of ways.
Well,
but a younger grandparent.
Just an extra part of the family for the kid. Yeah. Okay. Well, I get your point. I take your point. I agree with it being those were the sentiments he was focused on.
Yeah.
And he did them well.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes for great storytelling or filmmaking, but he did do those things well.
And everybody has a right to, their own opinion. I don't want people to think here that, I'm trying to win you over to my side.
You don't think I don't feel like I have any rights? So.
No. I'm just like, you have rights to your own opinion. And I think filmmaking is a very personal, like when you watch a film, it's very personal. Either it touches something in you and it doesn't. That's why everybody has a favorite film, and everybody's favorite film is pretty much different than everybody else's.
Well, I love certain parts of this movie, but I just don't think it was a great movie overall. But for you, is there anything that you think should have been changed, or anything you personally would have changed if you were making a film like this with his kind of goals in mind?
I think that I would have liked to seen a little more of her inner personal life on screen. I just because I really enjoyed.
The whole thing was her personal life.
No, inner, like as in.
Oh, inner personal.
Yeah, like what she's really.
She's very quiet.
Exactly, because she's very, very quiet in the film. That is one thing, but.
I prefer her to be quiet because she's going to show you as opposed to action, as opposed to tell you.
Just tell you, yeah. But I don't. When I say in her personal life,
so I think you're saying you wanted to see the things that I wanted to see. You know what would have shown her interpersonal life? Her taking actions, like decisions, you know what I mean? Yes.
You're thinking that. What I'm thinking more of is I would have liked to see more of a very specific moment in the film when after she has saved the kid from drowning. She's pulled them back to the shore. She breaks down.
Yeah.
She doesn't break down because she's happy that she saved these children. She does see them as her children. She's very happy that she saved them. The reason she breaks down is because the child that she was having, she didn't want it. But because Mexico's obviously a very Catholic, religious country, and because it is the 70s, and because women have always been told, be a good girl.
Yeah, you're supposed to want the kid.
You're supposed to want the child. She didn't want it, and that's the reason why she broke down. And I would have loved to see just more glimpses of that, of her desire, or her, like what she's feeling on the inside.
I feel you. Me too. But here's the thing, that usually happens as a result of the character taking actions. Being active.
Yeah, and
because what happened, you saw that after she did something drastic.
Well, I think anybody seeing a child drowning would run in to get him.
But was more, but like you said, it was more to her than just that. She did something drastic, and that was important to her. And that's the reason you saw the reaction on her. Now, had she been doing that throughout the whole film, think of what the film could have been then. It could have been even way better.
And you might be right, but the film is what the film is.
But that's one of your favorite parts. So it's,
actually, it's not my favorite part.
It's one of your favorite parts, is what I said.
Yes. No. My favorite part would be the part where she's...
That's like my favorite part.
No, my favorite part is when she's running to go to the movies, and you see the balloon man. And I think it's because it closely reminds me of a childhood memory that I had. And you see the movie theater lights, like, shining, going back and forth. And you see the balloon guy, and you see her running down the street, and the cars going by, and the fashion. And
we're talking about this long one shot?
Mm-hmm.
I was nervous because you know what I was expecting to happen was one of the kids to get hit by a car.
I was actually, yeah.
It felt like something like that was going to happen.
But he did. He did get hit by a car. He goes to metaphorically, of course, he goes to the movie theater, and he sees his dad coming out with another woman. Yeah. He got hit by a car. It was like a bag of bricks, just bam. Just realized that's your dad.
Did he react to it right then? I don't remember. Or did he kind of talk about it later?
He didn't.
Because I think the kids were like kind of in denial at first. They were just kind of questioning.
He didn't.
They didn't immediately think Dad is doing something wrong. They was like, well, this is really weird. Dad must have a really good reason for it or something.
Yeah, and it wasn't the reaction to them came when they went to the beach, came back, and they went.
Their mom broke the news to them. They got angry at their mom for breaking the news.
It was, I think, before that actually, and
they didn't want to believe
then they came in, and then they saw that the bookcases were gone, the books were gone, and I think that's where it was like, bam, really hit them, the reality of everything.
Yeah, now you got teenage angst. Yeah, I mean, but I think the most powerful part of the film was when you see your protagonist actually have an emotional experience. That's when she went into the water to save the kids, came out, and then she finally released the energy that she had been building up the whole film.
It wasn't really. The thing is that it almost came out of left field. You didn't really know if she wanted it or didn't want it. So I think that's why I say I would have liked to seen more of that. You weren't sure whether you didn't have an idea that she did want it or didn't want it.
She was so quiet that's a good part of it actually. So
you didn't know. It was just like that's what I'm saying. Like all of a sudden, just at the end, you're like, oh, she didn't want the baby.
Well, I kind of suspected she didn't want the baby. I just didn't know when is she gonna have an experience.
My thing was, I just thought she just didn't want to be a single mother.
Well, that too. She didn't want to be a single mother.
That's what I thought it was.
She didn't want to be a single mother.
But she didn't want the baby. The thing is that she didn't want the baby. And so then you went back and you watched everything, and then you're like, oh, it just kind of changes everything that you kind of seen.
Well, she didn't want to be a single mother, but maybe she didn't want to be a single mother or she didn't want the baby because she didn't want to be a single mother.
And it could have been exactly. And so you're just like, it's a balancing act of what do you want to feel and believe for her.
Well, you know what would have been interesting. What makes that interesting for me is I also feel like part of her feelings on that and why they're so strong might have to do with her own childhood. Was she raised by a single mother or not? And,
more than likely, she probably didn't have a childhood. She probably lived in a very small rural town. She probably didn't go to school. She probably had to take care of her brothers and sisters. She probably went to work for that family like at 15 or 14, 12 maybe, if the family was really poor. That's usually how those type of women ended up in those houses. They went to work at a very early age, and that's why it became so personal. That's why they were part of the family, because they went to work at 14, 15. The family that she worked for basically helped to raise them to adulthood, to that 18, 21 years of age where people are actually considered adults.
Right.
That's why, it's like, yes, they were an integral part of the family, but the people who took them in, the good people, because there's also bad people who mistreated those people, the good people would help raise those children in a lot of ways, would take a burden from the family, from those families as well, because at times they couldn't. That's why she probably couldn't read, probably needed all the help that they could offer her, and that's why she went to her and said, hey, I'm pregnant and all this. And that's why when she went to the hospital, even the dad who left the family still felt, because I think even if given the opportunity, even because usually the father, unfortunately, sorry men out there, even when the father leaves the family, I think if given the opportunity, and if they are good men, I think they would do for their children as much as they could do if they were in a position to help.
Yeah.
A lot of times when men leave families, it's because they're not in a position to even help themselves, unfortunately. It's very few who leave their family and are in a position to still help but choose not to.
That makes sense. Well,
that was Roma for you guys.
That was Roma.
No.
My opinion hasn't changed about it, but
mine hasn't at all. I still love it. But I do think you're absolutely right. Had it not been Alfonso Cuarón's film, would have been nominated and won Best Picture.
I don't think it would have even been nominated.
It would have not been nominated for Best Picture. It would have been nominated for Best Foreign Film. That's it. That's exactly what it would have been. Because it's a massive undertaking. It's a beautiful film. You can't deny the beauty of the film. And the Academy...
It's a boring film.
An Academy loves beautiful films, especially when they come from foreign directors.
There's a lot of beautiful
black
films.
And white.
All you need for a beautiful film is a good camera and somebody who knows how to use it. But there's a lot of beautiful films that will never get nominated, nor should they. People don't understand storytelling.
Yes, you're absolutely right about that. I completely agree with that. But I think that even though there is a lot of beautiful films, there is only some. And it goes right back to that idea of magical realism. Some films just have magic in them. They do. Because there's films that you watch and you're like, why was this nominated? But it has to do with the time period.
Did she really just comment, can I come over? Look, Kiva.
Come on over. Our door is always open.
Kima always comes out of nowhere, out of the blue. It's just in the comment about the podcast. She's just like, "Can I come over?" Yeah. She's probably watching this right now. Like,
yeah. Hey, keep watching. See, it goes to show that we do have an active. We do have people out there watching us. It's not just us talking to the
yeah,
internet
you can
waves.
come over. I'm just gonna be editing and eating chicken, but you can come over.
You gonna ask her to bring a side or no?
Yeah, bring me some food. bring me something. Don't just come over here. You're not a guest anymore. You're like,
bring us a drink.
Bring me something to drink. Anyways, so that's Roma. We finally got it.
Exactly. After a year and something of talking about, we're gonna talk about this, but we never did.
You ready to wrap this thing up?
Whenever you want to.
Yeah,
you ready?
yeah.
I think I'm ready. I think we talked about everything that we talked about. Yeah, I mean, basically.
Outro.
Oh, outro, huh? So basically, just always pleasure to be here. Pleasure to have. I am in the host. Pleasure to have you here.
Yep.
Even though this is his home.
Yep.
His podcast.
Yep.
His mics.
Well, Tampa Film Network's podcast.
Yeah, it's like he's the one that he's the one mainly in charge of everything, and just like the.
So, anyways, just to remind everybody, Butterfly is the next short film. To get involved, just contact either me in producing it or message Tampa Film Network, and we'll start to get you involved. Yep. If you're an actor, Join Acting Team Tampa Film Network on Facebook.
Right.
Acting Team Tampa Film Network. The sides are on there. Read the sides.
Put it on your phone.
Comment the video on the post so we can see it, and we'll get this thing going. We're looking to get this either shot by November, right before Thanksgiving. Want to get this shot by Thanksgiving, get it edited by Christmas, and out into the festivals by next year. And then we'll let you know when the digital releases. So we got a lot to do, but there it is, our second short film, and that's all I got. Yeah. Crew people, get in touch with me. I'm gonna start bugging everybody.
Lighting people, editing people, everybody basically who does anything.
It's all
to do
hands
with film.
on. It's all hands on deck. We got a new project, so let's get it done. Let's have some fun. Let's make some movies.
Where can they follow us again?
Oh yeah. Well, that's you.
That's me, but I mean, because
on all social media, just type into the search bar Tampa Film Network.
That's right.
We probably have an account there. That's what.
Twitter.
It is.
We have one on Twitter. I didn't know.
Instagram.
Until I did.
YouTube.
Facebook,
probably the main one. Facebook and Instagram, the main ones.
Yep.
But
you're not showing any love to the Twitter people.
Yeah, but don't forget to like the video, share it.
That's right.
And
tell us your opinion about anything we talk about.
If you're not involved with Tampa Film Network,
get involved.
And if you want to be on the show, email us at tampafilmnetworks with the s@gmail.com, or just message the page directly on Facebook. Tampa Film Network is probably the best thing. You can also message me directly. I check my Outsiders inbox every so often or whatever. And let us know if there's any subjects that you want us to cover.
And if you have money, come knock on our door.
Yeah, if you don't know what to do with that extra $10 in your wallet,
drop it in our mailbox.
Give it to Butterfly.
Yeah. So
that we can get it in the film festival.
Knock on that door. Three's Company too. Is that also a real reference? Probably.
I guess I don't know. But anyways, I had a good time. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for having me in the host seat. I didn't break anything.
Ruth is going to be back with somebody else sitting in this chair next week. She's already committed.
No, I haven't.
And we'll see what's up. I'm just kidding.
That's right. We'll see what happens. I have a busy schedule, people.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
That's it. I think that's all we got. Yeah, just follow us on all the socials, and always, please reach out if you have any comments on what we just talked about.
All right. Yeah, or just comment. There you go.
Exactly. Or just comment about anything. You can even say, "Hey, can I come over?" And we'll be like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Nope.
Just bring us a drink.
Nope. Can't come over if I don't know you.
My bad. I'm sorry. I thought that having a drink would get you in.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
That's all I got. Nothing else. That's it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.